I'm looting devil fruit in one piece. Chapter 61-80. 61. Liberate slaves. At this moment, someone suddenly said to him, St. Charles, I didn't expect your guy to be caught. If I was caught, I wouldn't be as rubbish as you. All the people above were arrested and tortured one by one. That guy must be hiding among these people. But you were really ashamed to be humiliated by such a lowly guy. Also, your slave isn't too good. Isn't he very powerful? Can't even handle such a guy. The person who spoke was a guy who was wearing almost the same outfit as Yuan himself, and he also wore a hood. This guy is also a dragon. As for this Tianlong person, he looks crooked and looks very wretched. Yuan Jie also doesn't know why. I just feel that these Tianlong people look very wretched. I don't know if it's because of genetics, or because these guys wear a hood all day and are often caused by lack of oxygen. The current St. Charles is impersonated by Yuan, so he doesn't know the name of the guy in front of him. At this time, Yuan Jie felt that he didn't need to know. Yuan Jie only knew that this guy came to find fault when he saw it. Yuan Jie frowned and thought to himself, this rubbish like St. Charles Rose, don't set up a glorious image of this guy. However, at a time like this, he really couldn't stand the Tianlong man in front of him. St. Charles, this time, I will teach you a lesson to the guy in front of you, and let this guy take a big advantage. Yuan Jie began to think about how he could teach the guy in front of him a good lesson. I definitely can't do it directly with a guy. If you do it against the guy, you will definitely be in a lot of trouble. He didn't want others to notice him. He is not the real St. Charles. If many people notice him, his identity will definitely be exposed. Therefore, at this time, you should keep a low profile. Seeing this very arrogant guy on weekdays being scolded like this by himself, the Tianlong person at this time was very happy. St. Charles rose. This is my slave. The value of this guy is not low, but barely cost me hundreds of millions. When I go out, I still have to bring a bodyguard. Those low-level guys are good things, don't be reluctant. Can't afford the money. After saying this, the Tianlong person added, do you want me to lend you this Tianlong person? Don't worry, I won't charge you. You look like a poor ghost. After seeing the slave, Yuan Jie's eyes lit up at this time. Since I can't do anything to this guy in front of me, I can make a fuss about using this slave. Yuan Jie turned around slightly, and then used the power of the fluttering fruit, flying the opponent's slave out of thin air, and then let this ability disappear for 100 years. Then he smashed the guy in front of him. Yuan Jie's speed is very fast. The guy didn't see anything out of the ordinary. That slave was also slightly taken aback at this time. Then, the expression on his face contorted. He was very frightened at this time. Contrary, he didn't know what happened, but at this time he smashed towards his master Tianlongren. At that time, he will definitely not end well. Although he didn't know what happened, he was the one who smashed the opponent. When the thought slave smashed towards the Tianlongren, the hand on his neck also exploded. The slave in front of him is not far from this guy, so the guy was not only smashed by that slave, but also blown up by the aftermath of the explosion. Naturally, these will not cause any harm to Yuan. But at this time, Yuan Jie retreated. As for that guy, this time he is not dead or disabled. For these Tianlong people, Yuan has no mercy. These guys bully men and bully women and do all kinds of evil, which makes Ashes disgusted when Yuan Jie arrives. Therefore, if these people die, there will be one less scourge in this world. When that slave fell, that slave went mad. He was fine, he didn't know why this happened. When such a thing happened, I would definitely not feel better then, but these Tianlong people did not regard them as human beings. I'm going home. I'm not a pirate anymore. I just want to be a good ordinary citizen. I've changed my mind, please let me go. At this time, he wanted to get off the collar he was wearing on his neck. Seeing this guy like this, Yuan Jie at this time was considered a kind-hearted person, and then used the power of the shaking fruit to shatter the collar on the opponent's neck. Seeing that the slave knew that the collar on his neck had disappeared, it was completely unbelievable. Because he never dreamed of it all. Ha ha, I'm finally free. Ha ha. Although, this slave was vomited blood just now by the explosion of the collar. But at this time, that guy didn't care about these things. Although he was coughing up blood at this time, he was laughing wildly at this time. Seeing such a scene, Yuan Jie was also shocked at this time. This guy is crazy. However, a pirate who can't die will probably go crazy when such a thing happens. These Tianlong people are simply not human. Yuan Jie sighed in his heart. That slave was obviously born a pirate, but he is not stupid. Soon, the guy regained his composure. Although he was rescued from the collar, he still hadn't escaped from this place. It may be a holy place for these Tianlong people, but for him, this place is simply a purgatory on earth. Soon, he discovered Yuanj not far away. I'll catch this guy and threaten the world government and the navy. I'll be able to leave this place maliciously soon. The other party is a Tianlong person, they dare not listen to me. That pirate said it without hesitation. Hearing this, Yuan Jie was also slightly startled, because he didn't expect that this guy would have such thoughts. However, Yuan Jie still has things to do. How can he be captured by the other party? He obviously did not agree. Yuan Jie didn't get tough with the other party at this time. After all, this is the Holy Land Mary Joa, and there are many powerful guys. If you defeat this guy, how will you explain it? This Charles Rose Saint is not so powerful, and will soon be found out by others that he is a fake. Therefore, at this time, the Yuan Song can only run. That's right, just run. 62. Slaughtering Tianlong people. If the other party didn't catch up with you, that's forgivable. After thinking of this, Yuan Jie began to run away. It is no doubt that it is cumbersome for me to have my own boat in such a way. However, Yuan Jie's speed is very fast, so these are nothing to Yuan Jie at all. After Yuan Jie ran for a while, the guy reacted. At this time, he didn't have any anxiety. Because in his opinion, these Tianlong people are just pigs. That guy eats like that, and that guy wears so much. Of course not running fast. Of course, the most important thing is that he is a giant. Your body is several times bigger than the others. Of course, his legs are several times longer than the opponent's legs, and if he takes a step, it is more than 10 meters. Therefore, the opponent simply cannot run away from him. Just you guys, you really thought you could run past my Morocco. I won't let you dragon people go. Having said that, the guy called Morocco then chased after Yuan Jie. For this guy, Yuan Jie is of course very speechless. Because he ran away, the other party didn't even chase him. At this time, Yuan Jie began to doubt. But soon, the other party came after him. Yuan Jie was also emotional in his heart. Why are these giants so slow to react? If I didn't control the speed, I would have no shadow. Soon, the guy named Morocco caught up. In this regard, Yuan Jie is very satisfied. Yuan Jie did not widen the distance at this time. Because in that case, it is very likely that the other party will not come to arrest him. As for why? Naturally, let this guy take the blame. That Tianlong man was so bombed and crushed that he was already half paralyzed. You can't let yourself be blamed for this. You know, that guy is his own nemesis, and the other party is likely to rely on his own head. Therefore, Yuan Jie came up with such a method. It was morning, but no one saw it. If you want other people to see such a scene, then you will be able to clear your suspicions. Of course, if you want to act, you have to act like a little bit. At this moment, Yuan Jie was running and shouting, "Help! The slave is killed." Yuan Jie shouted like this. This made Morocco very angry. Because he didn't expect this kid to catch him for so long, and he didn't catch it. And, the kid shouted loudly. It's easy to attract other people. He is now in the mood to shoot Yuanj. It's a pity that I just can't catch the opponent. This makes Morocco begin to doubt life. If you know this, you will be in trouble earlier. Or arrest that Tianlong man. Boy, stop for me, or I'll be rude to you. With that said, the guy punched out. However, this did not hit the Yuan song. Yuan Jie continued to run at this time, and he looked like he was falling down at any time. Morocco was also ruthless in his heart. Just you Tianlong people, fat like a pig. I can't believe it, oh Morocco can't catch you. If I catch up with you, boy, I will definitely have a good look at you at that time. That Morocco also cursed inwardly. In this way, Morocco has been chasing behind Yuan Jie. Over time, this Morocco is going crazy. Because he did not expect that the Tianlong people would be able to run like this. This guy looked like he was going to stop at any time, but after chasing him for so long, he still hadn't caught up with him. Boy, stop for me, stop. Morocco was gasping for breath at this time. At this time, Morocco was about to cry. How happy he was just now, how sad he is now. Obviously, it is very difficult for him to escape from this place unless he catches that Tianlong person. But after chasing him for so long, he still hadn't caught up with the other party. You know, the distance between yourself and the other party is not very far. But he just can't catch him. If you can't catch the other party, you don't know what will happen when you wait. I treat Tianlong people like this, and I even chase Tianlong people. This is Marijoa, the sacred place of the Draconians, and it is full of personnel from the Navy and the world government. Moreover, the terrain here is steep, and it is difficult for me to escape from such a place. You stop for me. At this time, Morocco is simply hysterical. His eyes were red at this time. He didn't want to be caught by the Tianlong people once. If he was caught by the Tianlong people again, it would be very difficult for him to escape this place. Yuan Jie naturally ignored the other party, but shouted harder. Killing slaves or killing people, help. Yuan Jie shouted like this. Soon someone arrived. However, those Tianlong people who felt it were just watching the fun. Because they don't have the ability to deal with this guy. The main thing is that the relationship between these heavenly dragons is not very good, and St. Charles Rose was humiliated by such a lowly person before, which is simply the shame of their heavenly dragons. Therefore, they watched silently at this time, desperate for help. As for Yuan Jie, at this time, of course, there is no peace of mind. For these Tianlong people, he is very annoying. Doing the act of bullying men and women one by one is simply inferior to pigs and dogs. Yuan Jie directly led Morocco towards that direction. After Yuan Jie led Yuan Jie Morocco to that place, Yuan Jie fled and said to Morocco behind him, Can you not chase me alone? There are so many Tianlong people here. There are more than one Tianlong people. When Morocco heard this, his originally angry mood was greatly relieved at this time. Tianlong people are not only the other person, they can catch other Tianlong people. Moreover, the guy in front of him felt that he had caught it brightly, but he just couldn't catch it. If it wasn't for the fact that he was about to catch the other party, Morocco would have given up long ago. Hearing what the other party said, Morocco's eyes lit up. Then he chased after the others. Seeing such a scene, the faces of the Tianlong people who were watching the lively became ashen. Because they didn't expect that this guy would actually say these words. They ridiculed Yuan Jie in every possible way and were very proud, but at this time, they were running away like mice crossing the street. Charles Saint, you bastard. I'm not finished with you. You bastard. If I die, it's not over with you. 63. Killing Tianlong people like slaughtering dogs. All of a sudden, roars were heard everywhere. At this time, they all dispersed. Seeing such a scene, Yuan Jie was very satisfied at this time. Because let these guys suffer a little bit. Because these guys are high and mighty, he has long disliked these guys. As for them resenting themselves, these have nothing to do with him, because they are now St. Charles. All this was done by Charles Rose, and he had nothing to do with him. Seeing these people like this, Yuan Jie was very happy. That Morocco soon chased those guys. Of course, some of those guys are now bringing their own slaves. However, this Morocco is really, as Dana said before, and it is really very powerful. It is indeed a guy who spent hundreds of millions of Baileys to sell. Soon, Morocco caught a Draco. He roared after the Draconian was captured. "You'd better let me go. Otherwise, I'm welcome to you." These Tianlong people did not regard these guys as human beings, so even if they were caught by the other party, they were still unyielding. Of course, it's not that these guys have the backbone. But these guys are very arrogant, even very stupid. They want to use their identities to intimidate each other. "If I let you go, I won't be able to leave this place. You Tianlong people don't see us as human at all. And it's you who I am arresting." Morocco said it bluntly. "Bold, you guys are the lowest slaves in the first place. We are the high-ranking Tianlong people. If you dare to treat me like this, the world government will not let you go." At this time, the Tianlong people are still indomitable. "Ha ha ha, the world government won't let me go. In that case, at least I have the dignity to live, but now I might as well die instead of living like this." At this time, Morocco laughed a little crazy. "I am a Bailey pirate with a bounty of 8,000, and now I have fallen to such a level 1 inch. I'm a pirate, and the Navy won't let me go. You guys are unforgivable. Even if I don't have to die, it won't make you celestial dragons live." Morocco's tone was very firm at this time. He has long been prepared to be immortal with these Tianlong people. After catching that one, he started to attack the Tianlong man frantically. "You damned bastards, give me all to die. If you are an enemy of the world government, you will be an enemy. Am I, Morocco, afraid of you guys? Don't you look down on us. Let the lowly humans in your mouth end you guys. Ha ha ha, even if I die today, what can I do? I still earn." At this time, Morocco laughed madly. The laugh is very intimidating. Seeing Morocco like this, the other Tianlong people had to start to be afraid at this time. "This guy is crazy, run." At this time, a Tianlong man shouted. They don't have any reason to talk to this guy at this time. As for the Tianlong person before that, Morocco did not kill the other party. Maybe this guy is going to catch a Tianlong person, and then he will leave a way out for himself. He launched an attack on the Tianlong people. Those Tianlong people were completely unattended. They are delicious and lazy, all fat like a pig. And they all wore special clothes made by the dragons that looked like space suits, and the clothes were very bulky. Therefore, they don't run very fast. He was quickly caught up by Morocco. When Morocco caught up, it just fell directly with a fist. Those Tianlong people who were powerless to fight back were directly blown up by that Morocco. The blood splattered everywhere, and the flesh and blood were beaten into slush by the opponent. Obviously, this Morocco also did not hold any hands. And he is very resentful towards these Tianlong people. After killing those dragons, Morocco laughed madly. At this time, he was covered in blood and looked like a killing god. Seeing such a scene, those heavenly dragon people were wailing one by one at this time. Those who were slaves, order their slaves to resist at this time. However, these slaves are obviously not the opponents of this Morocco. Morocco's strength is also very terrifying. Morocco was chasing those Tianlong people. It was a fist, the blood splattered and the flesh flew. Horrible. These heavenly dragon people, at this time, no longer look like they were aloof and indomitable before. At this time, they were constantly crying and panicking. At this time, Morocco was like a god of death, coming to take their lives. No, I'm a heavenly dragon. And some obsessive guys. Now they have become like this, and they also use their identities to threaten each other. However, Morocco at this time did not take them seriously. Soon, those Tianlong people were solved by a few fists from Morocco. After Morocco settled those people, his eyes quickly turned to Yuanj. Boy, I didn't catch you before. I'll catch you this time. You guy did this to me just now. If you were caught by me before, maybe I just caught you, but now I have caught it's a man, and this matter can't be let other people know. Therefore, if you want to blame, you will blame you for seeing things that you shouldn't see, and encountering things you shouldn't encounter. Morocco's eyes were fierce and murderous. Hearing the other party's words, Yuan-Jie was very helpless at this time. If it wasn't for him, could the other party escape? This is revenge. All right, it seems that the other party does not know that he saved the other party. If possible, Yuan-Jie can solve the other party. The other celestial beings are dead, only oneself survived. As long as you are not a fool, you will know that all this must have nothing to do with yourself. Therefore, at this time, Yuan-Jie couldn't take action against a guy. At this time, Yuan-Jie is still the same as before, so he will run away. I was run away by you last time. This time I will definitely not be run away by you. Morocco said unceremoniously. Then, almost the same as before, Morocco began to pursue Yuanj again. Yuan-Jie naturally did not try his best. It is still the same as before, and the distance from the other party is not very large. If the record with the other party is too far apart, the opponent will definitely feel that he can't catch up with himself, and then give up. At this time, Yuan-Jie naturally wanted other people to see it. If you can kill Tianlong people like you did just now, then kill some Tianlong people. Anyway, these Tianlong people don't have a few good things. 64. This Tianlong person is very special. Even if there are good things, it is no longer a Tianlong person. Help, this lowly slave has murdered. Help. Being called like that, Morocco's face turned ashen. Because it's been such a long journey. This time, he didn't catch up with the other party. This made him feel very helpless. What tricks did you use, kid? Why can't I catch up to you? Morocco asked at this time. You can't catch up with me, that's because you are a waste. Yuan-Jie struck rudely. Because it's really not a good thing to see. Bastard, look at Lao Su not killing you. That Morocco scolded. Yuan-Jie didn't pay too much attention to this. Soon, a lot of Tianlong people were attracted. As before, those Tianlong people were directly killed by the opponent. One punch, it couldn't be simpler. That punch flew the flesh and blood of the Tianlong people. At this time, Yuan-Jie deliberately led the other party to the place where those Tianlong people gathered. By the way, Yuan-Jie freed other slaves through his own abilities. Just be a good person. Then, those freed slaves also joined the pursuit team. As for Morocco, it is extremely ignorant. Because he didn't get the collars of these guys off at all. These guys got their collars on somehow. You know, these collar materials are very simple to make up. Therefore, it is difficult to get down. Unless there is a Tianlongren's key, this time it can be opened. Even if it is forcibly opened, it will suffer an explosion. These celestial dragons have made things that can explode on their collars. Suddenly, dozens of Tianlong people died. Those Tianlong people just came out of the house, and they were directly smashed by these guys. This movement is not small, and this Yuanj is shouting here. It also attracted a lot of attention. Morocco was almost insane at this time. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. Aren't these celestial beings aloof? Don't they see me as human beings at all? Today we're going to keep these heavenly dragons killed in this place. If you are afraid, then leave. If you are desperate brothers, you can join me and kill these most abominable Tianlong people. Even if I die today, I will die with no regrets. Morocco laughed very happily at this time. By this time, he was already dead. I am willing to follow you. I will not leave the armor of these Tianlong people to kill. I do too. These celestial dragons robbed my wife and arrested me too. This hatred is deadly. I will not spare the killing of these celestial dragons who bully men and women. Oh, and these celestial dragons don't give up. Oh my god, I must kill these guys who are not as good as pigs and dogs. These guys also learned to be addicted to killing, and they responded to Morocco's words one by one. Because they have all been devastated by the Tianlong people. One by one is very resentful to these Tianlong people. Therefore, when Morocco finished saying these words, they responded one by one. When the cross pirates attacked the heavenly dragons, they left a fortune, and today we have left a fortune here. Today, we will kill these heavenly dragons without leaving behind. And then under the leadership of this Morocco. One by one, these guys started slaughtering the dragon people. You guys go over there and start slaughtering these heavenly dragon people, you guys go over there. Leave a few people behind and follow me to kill that guy runs very fast, I haven't killed him a few times. Kill, I don't believe it, this time I can't kill that guy. Saying that, Morocco pointed to Yuanj. Seeing this, Yuanj didn't know what to say at this time. This guy wanted to kill himself several times, but this guy never killed himself. Now this guy is still not giving up, and even wants to kill himself. Doesn't this guy have the slightest sense? Yuanj secretly complained in his heart. Although he was thinking that way in his heart, Yuanj said to the other party at this time, you killed you. All of this has nothing to do with me. Why did you send so many people to kill me? You should go and kill other Tianlong people. Quote. Yuanj discouraged these people at this time. Because he also wants these guys to kill more of those Tianlong people. After all, the number of Tianlong people here is also limited. Boy, after we kill you, we will kill other people. You are not dead, if we go to inform, we will be in trouble. At this time, someone said unceremoniously. Hearing this, Yuanj secretly said in his heart. You have made such a big move one by one, do you want me to inform you? Although Yuanj thought so in his heart, at this time, Yuanj said to these people slyly, don't worry. I will never tell the truth, and I will not make fun of my life. Ha ha ha, are all the Tianlong people such cowards? Hearing this, Yuanj was very speechless. But thought. Oh, it doesn't seem to be a Tianlong person, I am just using the identity of a Tianlong person now, this guy is not me. Boy, don't think that you can escape today. I'll see if you're upset if I'm looking for something special. Morocco said it unceremoniously at this time. Because of the previous events, this Moroccan gas almost vomited blood. It is very resentful for Yuanj Morocco. But fortunately, I met other Tianlong people and rescued people like myself. This time, it will be like this. After saying this, Morocco chased after Yuanj. While chasing, the Morocco said to the other two, you guys stop this guy on both sides, this guy's ability to escape is very unusual. The three started to chase Yuanj. Seeing this, Yuanj ran away. As for all that, it's definitely for acting. If you do it yourself against a few people, you can solve it at once. But there is a real danger of revealing his identity. Although no one noticed him at this time, he still had to keep a low profile. There is another reason. Naturally, these guys can teach these Tianlong people a good lesson for themselves. It would be very inconvenient to do it yourself. However, he can pass through the hands of these people. Although the three pursued Yuanj, they were still the same as before. Yuan Song was not caught. Yuanj pretended to escape several times. The men chased for a while, but still failed to catch up. But still didn't catch up. This makes these few begin to doubt life. Because the Tianlong person in front of him seems to be very unusual. What is the situation with this guy? Let's give up. This time someone suggested. 65, let's run away. Seeing this, Morocco thought about it at this time, and then said, okay. If we can't catch up, then let's give up. As for whether the other party will go to inform, it has nothing to do with it at this time. There is trouble here. Such a big movement has already attracted the attention of other people. It will soon attract the attention of other people. Why don't we deal with other Tianlong people? These people finally gave up attacking Yuanj at this time. Because of the guy in front of him, he was about to chase him, but he couldn't catch up with him. Seeing these people like this, Yuanjie was relieved at this time. Of course, he was not afraid of being caught by the other party. Of course, he is still very confident that these people can't catch him. At this time, he didn't use Momo's fruit ability at all. If the ability of Momo's fruit is used, these guys will never try to catch up with them for the rest of their lives. Of course, Yuanjie at this time wasn't a big deal at all. He is also ready to add a fire to these. Because you can do things while there is chaos. Doing things are easy to spot if it's not cluttered. This is the so-called fishing in troubled waters. Yuanjie started to follow closely behind these people. See what these people are up to. Should I take advantage of the chaos and solve some guys? These Tianlong people are not good birds, or when they attack, I will secretly release his slaves. At that time, I will definitely be able to deal with this Holy Land Mary Joa. Chaos. Yuanjie murmured softly. These guys did not go to the place where the Tianlong people gathered. At this time, they instead walked towards the place where there were few Tianlong people. Shouldn't we be reconciling with those other people? In this regard, I asked the Moroccan guy very curiously at this time. Yeah, we should mix with those guys now and make this Mary Joa big. Another suggested. If you want to die, go to die, I won't stop you. Now, while the chaos, let's get out of this ghost place. Morocco proposed this time. After saying this, Morocco continued to add, those guys are not even my opponents, and they won't be able to make any big waves. The combat power of this place is not weaker than the navy at all. This place is the world government. I know that there are many organizations of the world government, and there are also the masters of the world in this place, the 5 old stars. The strength of those guys is very average. We can't be opponents of the other party at all. So, at this time, the only way to escape is to take advantage of the chaos. In this case, we may have a glimmer of hope to get out of this place. Hearing this, the two were also slightly startled. Because they don't know anything about that. Soon, someone realized something, and then said to the Morocco, could it be that it was also your plan to chase that Tianlong man just now? You deliberately pretended that you couldn't catch up with that guy. When Morocco heard this, he was stunned for a moment, then nodded tiredly. When seeing such a scene, Yuanjie at this time was very contemptuous of Morocco. Because he didn't expect that Morocco would think of this. To the other party that he couldn't catch up with him was because he did it on purpose. Yuanjie only felt that the other party was very fake. Because the other party really can't catch up with you, making the other party feel like he's catching up with you, that's all your own intentions. What has he become like chasing himself before? This guy is really fake. Yuanjie then quietly followed behind these people. He wanted to see what these people were going to do. In this way, Yuanjie has been following behind these people. Of course, these people don't even know it. If they knew, these people would definitely attack themselves. Yuanjie originally thought that these people would take the special channel. But Yuanjie never thought that these guys actually walked towards the place where he came. And walked towards a garrison soldier. Who are you? After seeing these people, the guy who guarded the door also scolded at this time. As for the two guys at this time, they were also extremely stunned. Which set is this going to come from? As for Yuanjie, he naturally knew that Morocco wanted to threaten these guys by kidnapping the Tianlong people. Now, the other party is Huli Amin, but he has also caught a Tianlong man. After knowing all this, Yuanjie ignored it, because it seemed very boring to Yuanjie. These guys are not devil fruit powers either. These dragon people generally like to catch giants. Because of this, he can ride on them. And these are generally not devil fruit abilities. This is not to say that giants do not have devil fruits, but they are extremely rare. Yuan Jie can be sure that the guys in front of him are not devil fruit powers. I'd better go and see what those guys look like over there. Would you like to light a fire? Yuan Jie murmured softly at this time. He is not a good person, and for these very annoying Tianlong people, he is even more not a good person. At this time, he just wanted to do things in this place. Let yourself know a little more about this holy place, Mary Joa. You know, this Mary Joa is very mysterious. Yuan Jie didn't know much about this Mary Joa. As for those guys, I don't know if they were fooled by Morocco, or if they were full of resentment towards these Tianlong people. These guys rushed directly into the area where the dragon people lived. After seeing those celestial dragons, one by one, they chased their prey like a wolf seeing a rabbit. Seeing these people seem to be possessed, Yuan Jie could only watch from a distance at this time. For fear that these guys will attack him. Of course, Yuan Jie secretly killed some Tianlong people, and secretly took down the collar of the slaves of those Tianlong people. Therefore, this slave that is more and more. They are constantly slaughtering these Tianlong people. Soon someone will come to deal with these slaves. Those guys are obviously people from the world government. Although those guys are not weak one by one, but at this time, the ones killed by these slaves are also retreating again and again. These slaves are the guys bought by these Tianlong people at a large price, and their strength is very good. Because these world government guys are no match for them at all. Soon, a guy discovered Yuanj. There's another heavenly dragon man. Brothers, kill this nasty guy for me. Yuan Jie did not expect that he would be discovered. Seeing this, Yuan Jie's expression changed slightly. I'm just watching the fun. You don't need to kill them all. Yuan Jie said to these people at this time. Bah, there is no good thing to save you Tianlong people. If you don't have the protection of the world government, you will be chased and killed. Since we will all die today, if we die today, we will also find a few. The Tianlong people are on their backs, killing one is just right, killing two is naturally a gain, and killing more is naturally more profitable. That's right, you Tianlong people should be killed. Don't be polite to these guys. Then, these guys chased Yuanj. Seeing this, Yuan Jie at this time naturally ran away. 66. Lord Yimu Reward. Don't let this guy run away. The people in the back roared angrily. At this time, Yuan Jie started the scene before. At this time, he was running and begging for help. And at this time, Yuan Jie deliberately moved these people to the place where those Tianlong people gathered. Because other Tianlong people were basically killed by these guys. Even those guys from the world government were killed by these guys at this time. Because these people never expected that so many guys would get rid of their collars. These people were chasing after Yuan Jie. However, after chasing for a distance, Yuan Jie was not caught. That guy is as fat as a pig. But why didn't you think that this guy would run into the liver so fast? Yeah, that kid seems a little wicked. What nonsense. That guy is not a good person at first glance. Just catch that kid and kill him. I don't believe that we guys can't even catch this guy. The one in the lead scolded angrily. These people are still steadfast to Yuanj. Even if they encounter those Tianlong people, they ignore them at all. Seeing this, Yuan Jie also cursed in his heart at this time. Don't these guys just dislike me so much? You can't catch up with me, don't you have any self-knowledge? Killing one of my heavenly dragons is worth killing a few heavenly dragons. Yuan Jie also wanted to kill these abominable Tianlong people under the guise of these people. Therefore, Yuan Jie had no choice at this time, and he ran directly out of the sight of these guys. This guy didn't expect to run so fast. Let's stop chasing this guy. Seeing Yuan Jie's disappearing back, they felt very unwilling. But this time they have no other way. When Yuan Jie escaped from the sight of these people, he was also relieved. However, Yuan Jie didn't have any good feelings for these guys. Because why are these guys staring at themselves? However, Yuan Jie knew that such a killing would not take long. Although the guys from the world government were defeated by these guys before, but now there will be strong ones coming soon. Those strong people are not vegetarians. At this time, a middle-aged woman appeared behind Yuan Jie. Watching Yuan Jie surreptitiously look at the killing side. At this time, a woman asked curiously, "What happened over there?" Yuan Jie heard this, and then looked at the woman in front of him. This is a middle-aged woman with a beautiful face, and her figure is also very good, and Yuan Jie can see from the dress of the other party that the guy in front of him is also a Tianlong person. It's just that the Tianlong in front of him is different from the others. All of them are wearing helmets, but the guy in front of him is not wearing a helmet. Seeing Yuan Jie surreptitiously here, the middle-aged woman asked curiously, "What happened over there? It seems that those slaves were disobedient and killed a lot of us Tianlong people." Yuan Jie did not hide it at this time, but said to the other party, "Indeed. If I hadn't run fast, I would have been killed by those crazy guys." "Then you know where those guys are, take me there with your mourning," the Tianlong woman urged anxiously at this time. Yuan Jie ignored these. At this time, he said to the other party, "I ran for a long time just now, this time, escape, let me take a breath." Yuan Jie still pretended to be panting at this time. When the middle-aged woman saw Yuan Jie like this, he didn't pay any attention to Yuan Jie at this time, but chased after the noisy side. When Yuan Jie saw the speed of the other party, Yuan Jie's face changed greatly at this time. Because that middle-aged woman was very fast. This guy is no ordinary person. As this guy I am. Yuan Jie was full of doubts at this time. Because it was something he hadn't thought of. Yuan Jie followed curiously at this time. Yuan Jie didn't know much about this I am. Because this guy is very mysterious, whether the other party is male or female, Yuan Jie is also very uncertain. However, this guy's strength is very unusual. Yuan Jie has never seen each other. And the opponent's strength is very unusual. After Yuan Jie followed, those guys who couldn't even solve the world government. However, it was solved at once by that middle-aged woman. Seeing such a scene, Yuan Jie became more and more suspicious that the middle-aged woman in front of him was Yimu. Because the opponent's strength is obviously unusual. Soon, several old men came over. The old man looked very serious. 4 of them were dead in suits. And only one was wearing training clothes. Yuan Jie can be very sure that these guys in front of him are the 5 old stars. After seeing the middle-aged woman, the 5 old stars also bowed slightly, and then said to the middle-aged woman, "Goodbye, Lord Yimu." That thought that middle-aged women didn't take all this to heart. She frowned, and then angrily scolded these people, 5 old stars. "You guys, such a big thing happened in this holy place, you arrived late. Are you going to watch our Tianlong people get killed? Have all these lowly bastards been killed?" When seeing Lord Yimu like this, all the 5 old stars at this time also changed color on their wrinkled faces. Then they just knelt down. "My lord, this is our dereliction of duty, and we must be punished." Hearing this, at this time, a middle-aged woman did not give the 5 old stars any good looks, but scolded, "Do you think it's enough to punish you? Those who were killed by those lowly slaves can be resurrected. I am that is very dissatisfied with these 5 old stars. These guys rioting, although not caused by these people, but they have an inseparable relationship with these guys. Therefore, I was very angry." At this time, Yuan Jie was absolutely certain that this middle-aged woman was Naam. This made Yuan Jie also very shocked. Because he didn't expect that the world's struggle to dominate is really a woman. Yuan Jie was secretly observing at this time. "Come out. Now that you're here, why are you hiding a lot?" I said rudely at this time. Hearing this, Yuan Song also came out at this time. Then he said to the imam, "Meet Lord Im. I saw a group of people running towards that direction. Those people should be fleeing from this place." At this time, Yuan Jie directly exposed the whereabouts of those people before. 67. Accepted by Im and reward. Im frowned at this time. He stared at Yuan Jie and looked up and down. Seeing such a scene, at this time, the 5 old stars couldn't help frowning. Because they did not expect that the boy in front of him was so bold. As for who is Charles Rosé, they still know. Even if they didn't know it, but the last time St. Charles Rose was kidnapped, there was a lot of uproar in the world, and it was impossible for them not to know the Lord in front of them. At this time, Yuan Jie showed a naive look. At this time, he was also looking up and down at the Lord Im in front of him. When the 5 old stars saw Yuan Jie like this, they were also furious. "Boy, this is the leader of our Tianlong people, how dare you be so presumptuous in front of Lord Yimu? Bold." The bearded guy from the 5 old stars saw that St. Charles Ross treated Im like this. I was also very worried. Even their 5 old stars are very respectful to Imna. But the St. Charles Rose in front of him doesn't know if he has given his brain to what, and this guy treats Lord Yim like this. Yimu waved his hand at this time. He looked at Yuan Jie quite playfully at this time, and then said lightly, "Boy, I think your courage is very fat. Now that this situation is happening here, you dare to come over here." "Master Yimu, those people can't run away from me. As long as the other party can't run away from me, then the other party can't kill me no matter what," Yuan Jie said to Im at this time. There is still a smile on his face, a silly look. "Not bad. You look silly, but I didn't expect to have a little bit of wit." Im sighed at this time. Obviously, she didn't see Yuan Jie in front of her eyes either. At the beginning, she was still a little curious, but after hearing what the other party said, she was not so curious at this time. "That Charles Saint, what the hell is going on? Do you know all this?" At this time, Im's face became serious, and then asked. "Lord Im, I know all this. A friend of mine showed his slave in front of me before, and I don't know why. The guy's slave's collar was dropped by the guy, so the guy escaped. As for the other slaves, it was the same slave who did it. He took off the collars on the necks of the other slaves. Then they killed the draconians when they saw them. That's all I know." After Yuanj finished saying this, Yimu at this time ran directly in the direction Yuanj pointed. The speed of the other party is extremely fast, which Yuanj has to admit. Just a moment later, Im came back. The corners of her clothes were still stained with blood. Looking at the blood on the corner of his clothes, Im also shook his head at this time. Obviously, I am still very dissatisfied with all this. Lord Im ready to leave. But just as Im was about to leave, Im suddenly turned around, and then she looked at Yuan Jie. Seeing Yimu looking at himself at this time, Yuanj's heart was very empty at this time. Because this Im's strength is not ordinary, it is easy for him to be seen by the other party. However, Yimu nodded, and then said to Yuanj, "You kid looks like you still have 2 brushes, and you are obviously capable of escaping from the hands of those who think you are strong, and this time, you dare to come here, you really have a bit of courage. Unlike other Tianlong people, everyone is greedy for life and fear of death. You know, our ancestors created the whole world, with such a little ability. When the time comes the Tianlong people will be finished sooner or later. I think you are very good, otherwise you can study with me for a while." When Yuan Jie heard this, Na was really shocked. Because this Im seems to want to accept himself as a disciple. If the other party accepts him as a disciple, then he will not have a good life. Of course, his previous plans will definitely be in vain. "I came here to collect devil fruits, and I just came to get acquainted with the environment here today. But I didn't expect that such a thing would happen today." Yuan Jie never thought that Imam, the dragon man, would come out and accept himself as his apprentice. At this time, Yuan Jie was regretful. Because all of this together is inseparable from myself. The reason why the slave could take off the collar on his neck was due to Yuan Jie. As for the collars on the necks of other slaves, they were also made by Yuan Jie. Moreover, Yuan Jie also deliberately brought these slaves to the place where the Tianlong people gathered. Therefore, these guys can kill so many Tianlong people. That Lord I don't think I can bear it. Yuan Jie said embarrassingly at this time. Hearing this, Wu Laoxing's hometown stared at Yuan Jie with a beard, and said in a sullen voice, St. Charles Ross doesn't know what's good or bad. Lord Yimu values you, that's a blessing you've cultivated, such an opportunity is very good. You can't ask for it. Do you look down on Lord Yimu by rejecting Lord Yimu like this? You must know that Lord Yimu is the leader of our celestial dragons. The king of celestial dragons. That's it. Lord didn't give Yuan Jie any explanation either. Then Imam Sama left after leaving a word. 5 old stars. As for the rest, I will leave it to you old guys. If this matter can't be solved, then you shouldn't be in charge of the whole world. Lord we'll make sure this is done beautifully. I am not paying too much attention to the words of the 5 old stars. Not even any answer. After Yimu left, the face of the 5 old stars was very bitter at this time. Although they said it was very simple, this time they killed and injured so many Tianlong people. Even they are in charge of the dragon people. But at this time, they are not good at how to solve it. At first, these Tianlong people must be very angry. The second is that this matter must be suppressed, which is a great shame for their Tianlong people, and it is also in order to avoid others to follow suit. Their heavenly dragons have established a lofty attitude in the world, and other people simply do not dare to attack these people. As for these things, of course, it has nothing to do with Yuan Jie. He also ran away at this time, because he was afraid that this matter would implicate him again. If these 5 old stars don't have the face to look for themselves, then they will be in trouble. I am unfamiliar with this place, and my identity is very easy to reveal. Looking at the place where Yuan Jie left, Wu Laoxing also shook his head, not knowing what to say. When Yuan Jie left, he was also very embarrassed. Because he just thought about it casually, he never thought that he would cause such a big problem. At this time, he was a little guilty. 68. Temptation. As far as he saw, there were many Tianlong people killed by those slaves. Not to mention what the guide didn't see. You know, those slaves are tortured by these Tianlong people every day. For them, it is simply life rather than death. Therefore, these slaves will kill these dragon people. These have nothing to do with me. These are all you Tianlong people who do too much injustice and will kill themselves. Who told you to treat people like this? I am a good person, and I rescued these guys. Yuan Jie whispered softly in his heart at this time. Because if this matter is known to these Tianlong people will definitely not share the sky with him, even if he is now the 5th emperor. Moreover, although Yuan Jie at this time was the 5 emperors, at this time Yuan Jie did not have the power that a sea emperor should have. This title of his is only because he has a strong strength. After Yuan Jie left that place, he didn't know that the king had left at this time. Where should I go? Yuan Jie didn't know which way to go at this time, it was his first time here. For this place, Yuan Jie was unfamiliar with it. Just as Yuan Jie was thinking about going there, someone suddenly tapped him on the shoulder. St. Charles, I spent a lot of money a few days ago to sell a first-class peerless beauty, do you want to take a look at me? That beauty is definitely to your taste, if you really like it, I will but maliciously give this beauty to you. After all, we are brothers. Yuan Jie only saw a rooster head and a relatively short stature, but this guy was very hungry and wretched when he laughed. Yuan Jie knew that this guy was also a character. Therefore, at this time, Yuan Jie had to agree to such a proposal from the other party. Because Yuan Jie at this time didn't know what the other party was called, so at this time Yuan Jie could only nod his head again and again. Look at me, I'm a brother. I'll keep this peerless beauty for you. That one person is very close to Charles Rose. Yuan-Jay didn't know what to say at this time. Just follow behind. Of course, he was thinking while walking Yuan-Jay. Do I want to tie this guy up and torture him? At that time, I can know some information about this place, otherwise, I don't know much about this place, and I will be easily dismantled by others. Yuan-Jay thought about it for a while, and felt that he would act according to the situation. Because it is very necessary to know the things about this place. Otherwise, as he is now, he is simply asking 3 questions. Not sure where to go. Of course, this guy is a talker, and he didn't talk much along the way. But looking at the other party's appearance, Yuan-Jay knows that this guy probably doesn't know what happened just now. You know, so many heavenly dragon people have died here. It was a very big deal for them. St. Charles, you're a very powerful boy, and you even escaped. As for the Navy, it's miserable now. What does this mean? St. Charles Rose, this shows that if you don't die, you will have good luck. You can't forget my brother when you are rich in the future. Brother, I'm a beauty that I bought so hard, and I haven't enjoyed it myself, so I'm calling you to try it out. If you have a future, you mustn't forget me. St. Charles, why don't you speak up, boy? Oh, I won't forget my brother when I have a lot of success. My brother is so considerate to me, this peerless beauty must be shown to me first, and my brother also looks up to me. Yuan-Jay flattered at this time. The older brother in his mouth also shouted very kindly. Of course, Yuan-Jay had no choice but to call the other party by such a name. Because I don't know the other person's name. So in order not to reveal the stuffing, I can only use the old brother instead. Along the way, this guy babbled endlessly. Yuan-Jay also felt very helpless. Soon, the guy took himself to a luxurious building. The buildings here are very luxurious. Therefore, at this time, Yuan-Jay was not at all surprised. Then these Tianlong people are rich and oily. As for why these guys are so rich, it is because the people of other countries offer themselves gold from the sky. Those were an important source of income for these celestial dragons. After the opening, Yuan-Jay originally wanted to attack the guy. But there is someone in this house at this time. Yuan-Jay guessed that that guy is probably the peerless beauty mentioned in the mouth of the guy in front of him. After thinking of this, Yuan-Jay didn't start with a guy. Liji, come out for me, my brother is here. You must take good care of my brother, otherwise, don't blame me for being rude to you. At this time, the Tianlong man shouted loudly into the room. Soon, a woman came out. The woman was wearing a veil. The layer of veil is almost transparent, and the other party's body can be seen at a glance. The other party is also very sexy. Except for some places that should be covered, other places are not covered. However, this woman is indeed very beautiful. I have to say, this guy really has a vision. Found such a beautiful woman. However, when the woman came out, she was indeed a little timid. Obviously, this woman is very afraid of the Tianlong person in front of her. Yuan-Jay could see that this girl was not bought by this guy, but was stolen by this guy. Because these Tianlong people like to bully men and women the most. What are you still doing? Come and serve this St. Charles Rose. I'll tell you, if you take care of this guy, maybe I'll let you go. This Tianlong man is obviously threatening the other party. Seeing this, Yuan-Jay was very sullen in his heart. Because this guy is a dignified man and threatened a weak woman, Yuan-Jay really couldn't stand it at this time. My lord, I don't ask you to spare me. I only ask you to spare my family. The woman named Li Ji begged. At this time, there were still tears in Li Ji's eyes. Obviously, she was also forced by this heavenly dragon. He didn't want to do these things. HMPH, don't pretend to be pitiful in front of me. I tell you, I've seen a lot of people like you. As for your family members, as long as you behave well, I will naturally let them go. So, you just have to listen to me carefully. The Tianlong person in front of him didn't know how to pity Shangxiu at all. 69. Blackbeard backing the pot, recommended reward. Hearing this, the woman who was still begging, just thumped and knelt on the ground at this time. A bright smile appeared on his face. Still muttering in his mouth. Thank you, sir. Thank you for letting go of my family. I will definitely listen to your words and serve you well. You don't serve me now. All you have to do now is serve my brother. Him. Saying that, the guy pointed at him. Yuan Jie was very helpless at this time. He didn't know what to say at this time. Although this guy kept calling him his brother, Yuan Jie knew that this guy was probably in tune with that Charles Ross, and it wasn't a good thing at first glance. Yuan Song can still be very sure of this. Hearing this, the woman turned her gaze to Yuan Jie. At this time, the scantily clad woman felt like a hungry wolf met his prey. At this time, that woman was not a prey, but a hungry wolf. She looked at herself like this, which made Yuan Jie feel very coy. The woman hesitated for a while, but then who said to Yuan Jie, Sir. Don't worry, my kung fu is very good. I will definitely serve you well. Yuan Jie was trembling a little bit by what the other party said. Of course, Yuan Jie had to admit that the woman in front of her was really pretty. Of course, at this time, it's not that this guy is handsome. The most important thing is that this guy is so revealing and sexy. And at this time, he is still tempting himself nakedly, which is simply tempting himself to commit a crime. Sin. Yuan Jie cursed in his heart. This guy is just seducing me. This guy is trying to induce me to commit a crime. Yuan Jie looked at each other and almost drooled. I have a very dedicated man, how can I be charmed by such a rouge fan? I am a person who has a girlfriend, and that girlfriend is about to become my wife. Maybe I have children now. So, I must collect all the devil fruits and return to my original world. Yuan Jie struggled in his heart for a while, and then came up with these words. Of course, he didn't say these words directly. After thinking about this, Yuan Jie changed his previous appearance. Of course, Yuan Jie cursed inwardly at this time. If I am tempted by this, I will most likely not be able to collect all the devil fruits by then. My number one priority right now is to collect devil fruits. Can't be bothered by this flowery world. When looking at Yuan Jie like this, the Tianlong man also frowned, and then asked Yuan Jie very curiously, St. Charles Rose. Is this guy not to your taste? I don't think you have any reaction at all now. Then what kind of reaction do you want? Yuan Jie couldn't bear it any longer. Is that so? Said, at this time, Yuan Jie rushed towards that Tianlong person. Then, Yuan Jie beat the guy wildly. Is that so? St. Charles Rose, are you crazy? I kindly took you to see the beauty, but I didn't expect you to treat me like this. I tell you, I will never spare you. Treating each other with such a beautiful woman, now this guy treats him like this. This made him very angry. Of course, Yuan Jie was also very angry at this time. Because this guy actually bullied men and bullied women, and even robbed women, and even gave them to himself. Obviously, this guy has no good intentions either. This element can still be seen. Yuan Jie first beat this guy up and talk about it. Mind him 3721. St. Charles. Girldo, are not finished with you. That guy was beaten by Yuan Jie, and he was very angry in his heart. I'm telling you, I'm not that St. Charles. The St. Charles was caught by me. Yuan Jie said unceremoniously at this time. As for Yuan Jie's words, Goulardo obviously didn't believe it. You should be acting like that. You treat me like this. I said that the 5 old stars must sue you. You treat me like this. That girl Do said angrily at this time. Obviously, for what Yuan Jie said, the guy in front of him didn't believe it at all. Yuan Jie originally wanted to become his original appearance. Otherwise, this guy is a little unconvinced. This guy looks like this, and naturally he won't tell himself something about this Holy Land Mary Joa. These Tianlong people are arrogant and arrogant. If they don't threaten the other party, these guys will definitely not compromise. Just when Yuan Jie changed back to his original state, Yuan Jie also had an idea at this time. I can't change back to the way I was, I can change into someone else's way. After thinking about this, Yuan Jie did not change back to the original appearance. Which guy is the most unbeatable? At this time, Yuan Jie began to think about who he became. Soon, a guy appeared in Yuan Jie's mind, grinning a tooth and looking like he was not beaten. This guy is definitely Blackbeard. If it wasn't for his last plan, he would not have given the secret fruit to the other party. Invasion that kid will teach him a good lesson himself. Then give that guy to Whitebeard. This guy is really a bit nasty. After thinking of this, Yuan Jie also turned into a black beard at this time. At this time, he grinned, looking very wretched. When he saw that St. Charles Rose had become like this, Geraldo was also startled at this time. He didn't expect that such a thing would happen. What the hell is going on? Why did St. Charles become like this? For all of this, Geraldo is obviously very unbelievable. Because he is so good at St. Charles, how could he become like this? I'm telling you, it's not that idiot of St. Charles. You really thought that idiot of St. Charles would come out so easily? All this is just played by me. Yuan Jie did not say in a good mood at this time. Hearing this girl is a big kid. This guy doesn't even know what's going on in his head. This eldest brother, even if you're not that guy from St. Charles, I'll give you this beauty. Geraldo, are my words. If you're not satisfied, I can find it for you. For me, the most important thing is beauties. And my eyes are very vicious. I will definitely find you a beautiful girl on an island. At this time, the Geraldo swore to Yuan Jie. Liji, take good care of this person, otherwise, I will not let your family members go. Geraldo threatened at this time. Hearing this, Liji at this time was shocked. 70. Precious Tianlong people clothes. She was very worried about her family. The other party is a Tianlong person, but the nobles in this world. He is just an ordinary person, and he is completely unable to resist the orders of the other party. After hearing this, Liji dropped the layer of veil that was covering her body at this time. All that's left at this point is underwear. At this time, Liji was not at all ashamed, and in front of the two big men, she was going to strip herself completely. Obviously, the other party has made a decision. Seeing such a glamorous scene, Yuan Jie wanted to watch it at this time, but at this time Yuan Jie angrily said, "Don't take it off for me again. If you take it off again, be careful, I will kill this guy." Yuan Jie could only threaten the other party like this at this time. However, the other party didn't seem to have listened to Yuan Jie's words. Seeing this, Yuan Jie at this time directly attacked Geraldo. "You bitch! Didn't you hear it? Do you want to kill me? If I die, your family will go to the funeral with you." Geraldo watched Yuan Jie do it to himself, so he also spoke at this time. Hearing this, Liji at this time stopped the movement on her hand. Liji turned around and asked blankly, "Then do I still need to serve this lord?" "Of course to serve," Geraldo said in a bad mood at this time. Because the guy in front of him is obviously not a messy master. If the other party is angry, the other party is likely to kill himself. You still don't want to easily anger the guy in front of you. If you really anger the guy in front of you, then you are likely to die. Hearing this, Liji at this time was ready to strip herself completely, and then dedicate herself to Yuan Jie. Seeing this, Geraldo at this time could not wait to slap the slut in front of him to death. Does this guy know this is a so-called servant? Don't take it off, you can serve this one well without taking off your clothes. Your lord, and it means that your lord doesn't like this kind of thing. If you anger this lord, I don't care about your fellows. Guaranteed. Girl Do said in a bad tone. Hearing this, Li Ji looked at Yuan Jie very seductively at this time, and threw a wink at Yuan Jie. From Li Ji's point of view, her family's life is in the hands of this heavenly dragon man, Girl Do, not in the hands of Yuan Jie. That's why he obeyed Girl Do's orders so much. Seeing the other party like this, Yuan Jie really didn't know what to say at this time. I don't want you to serve. As for your family, if you dare to touch your family, I will definitely kill this guy. At this time, Yuan Jie said to the woman in a bad mood. He didn't know what to say at this time. After saying this, Yuan Jie said to Girl Do at this time, isn't it? Seeing this, Girl Do also nodded quickly and said yes. He felt that if he didn't say yes, this guy might do something to himself. Your own life is very precious, and you can't ruin your life just because of those few lives. Seeing this, the woman was very moved. He immediately knelt down and said to Yuan Jie's white shoes, thank you, sir. Seeing this, Yuan Jie has a different feeling in his heart. These things had nothing to do with him originally, but he just couldn't get used to them, so he took action. These are the little things. Yuan Jie also waved his hands again and again. After saying this, Yuan Jie added at this time, can you put your clothes on? Hearing this, Li Ji also quickly picked up the veil that fell off the ground and put it on her body. In Yuan Jie's view, that layer of tulle is not much different from not wearing it. Therefore, at this time, Yuan Jie asked, can you change another pair? Your pair is a bit. Li Ji hesitated for a while, and then said to Yuan Jie, I have no other clothes to wear, I only have this one dress to wear. Yuan Jie heard this, and at this time, he also suddenly realized. Obviously, all this was done by the guy in front of him. As for Li Ji dressed in such a way, it is undoubtedly to cultivate interest. She was wearing erotic lingerie without a doubt. When Yuan Jie looked at this Girl Do, his eyes were very bad. If you like me, I might not be able to control these things, but today, since you are bullying men and women, since I saw you, then I have to take care of them today. However, I didn't expect that you do you have such thoughts? Yui said sharply to Goulardo, but behind him, there was obviously some playfulness in his tone. Seeing Yuan Jie like this, Girl Do was very scared at this time. Girl Do felt that if the other party attacked him, then the other party would definitely not be able to escape from this Mary Joa. In Girl Do's view, this guy is a lunatic, but he doesn't dare to anger the other party. Because the other person's life is not as precious as his own. Hurry up and find her a decent dress. At this time, Yuan Jie did not speak in a good mood. My meaning is so obvious, this guy didn't even hear it. I thought this guy was different from other Tianlong people, but I didn't expect this guy to be so stupid. Yuan Jie sighed in his heart. At this time, Girl Do didn't know what to do. Because I don't have women's clothes here, where can I find women's clothes? That Lord, I don't have any women's clothes here. Look at this, I'm asking where other people can look outside. Just wait for me and I'll be back soon. Girl Do said to Yuan Jie at this time. You think I'm stupid? If you go and find someone, what should I do? Yuan Jie said angrily at this time, he is not a fool. If you really run away, then it's best not to be caught by me, otherwise, you will die. At this time, Yuan Jie threatened unceremoniously. Because this guy still thinks he is a fool. If he didn't want to know something from her mouth, Yuan Jie would have already attacked this guy at this time. And it's still a killer. These Tianlong people are not good birds one by one. Didn't you have a dress? You can put that dress on for her. Seeing that the guy was still hesitating, Yuan Jie said unceremoniously to Girl Do, don't think how much in your cabinet you have, whether it is your life is precious, or yours is precious, if your clothes are expensive, I don't mind burning your clothes for you after killing you. It must be my life. I'll get you clothes. This guy is obviously not stupid, and his own words have said this. Then, the guy frantically went to find clothes. 71. Yimu is a fool. As for the ugly clothes, Yuan-Jie couldn't control that much at this time. When Girl Do took out that pair, Li Ji was obviously a little afraid to wear it. Seeing the other party like this, Yuan-Jie said angrily at this time, "If you really look like this guy won't kill all your family members. I will kill all your family members. Isn't it from the Tianlong people? Clothes, this pair is made to look like this. What is it that dare not wear it? If it is not for something, a ghost would be willing to wear such a sand sculpture on a boat." Yuan-Jie unceremoniously expressed his views on the pair. Hearing this, Li Ji and Girl Do widened their eyes. Because this dress is specially customized by Tianlong people, and such a piece is very valuable. However, now it is regarded as a sand sculpture by the guy in front of him. And let them that is very stunned. Seeing the two of them look the same, Yuan-Jie also knows why the two look the same. Then Yuan-Jie said angrily, "Don't think how expensive this pair is. Although this thing is of high value, it is very impractical. This dress is airtight, it has not been a hot day for hundreds of years, and it is easy to wear. It's very hot, and the clothes are very bulky. If you run for your life, the one who wears this clothes will be the first to die. And that helmet, it's no wonder you Tianlong people are so stupid, wearing this clothes all day. Guys, it is estimated that the brain lacks oxygen, so each and everyone is so stupid." At this time, Yuan-Jie directly pointed out the shortcomings of the clothes. Even though Girl Do was very angry, he didn't know what to say at this time. "Is this clothes really not good? It's really like what the other party said. I also think other people are very stupid. Is it really caused by lack of oxygen?" Even Girl Do, at this time, began to doubt whether the clothes had the shortcomings mentioned by Yuan-Jie. Being so threatened by Yuan-Jie, Li Ji had to put on the clothes of the Tianlong people. Seeing this, Yuan-Jie's mood was calmed down at this time. "I have to say, this guy looks really good, and this guy is so sexy. With such a natural stunner around, it's hard to do things by yourself." After the other party was dressed, Yuan-Jie at this time began to do business. The first thing to do is to get the devil fruit. There are many channels for these Tianlong people, and it is naturally very simple to obtain devil fruit. Moreover, the things that Tianlong people fancy, other people also dare not covet. As for the second, Yuan-Jie wanted to get a good understanding of this holy place, Mary Joa. Because Yuan-Jie knew that there must be something hidden here. In one piece, Yuan-Jie saw Naum come to a huge straw hat. He was also very curious. Of course, at this time, he has to be very low-key. If it is really surrounded, it will be very troublesome at that time. Of course, Yuan-Jie was referring to people like the Admiral of the Navy or the 5 Old Stars. Ordinary naval and world government officials still have a hard time dealing with themselves. "I have some questions to ask you now. You'd better answer me honestly. If you lied, then I will definitely not spare you." Yuan-Jie looked aggressive at this time. If the other party lied a little bit, he would definitely punish himself. Moreover, at this time, Yuan-Jie secretly released his domineering arrogance. Of course, that domineering was only put out for a while. If you put too much, this guy will definitely be stunned by his domineering. As for the domineering that was released, it naturally made the other party feel fearful in his heart. When it's time to ask questions by yourself, and guys don't lie to yourself. "Do you have a map of your holy land Mary Joa here?" Yuan-Jie's opening is such a question. Even if he has imitation fruits, he can imitate the appearance of people. But if you don't know the map, then it's very likely to be revealed. Of course, other things are also very easy to reveal. The most important thing is that even if the matter is exposed, he will have a way to escape. We don't have a map here. Because this place is very mysterious to the outside world, and the 5 Old Stars also don't allow us to draw a map. If this map leaks out, there may be a lot of trouble. Girl Do replied at this time. For Girl Do's answer, Yuan-Jie felt very reasonable at this time. Because these guys do all kinds of evil, if it wasn't for the protection of the world government, these guys would have been scratched long ago. Of course, there are also people who have ideas here. Rox was the idea of here, and was defeated by Roger and Garp, the Pirate King. The original Yuan Jie was also present. However, at that time, Yuan Jie just hid on the boat and did not come down. If he participated in the battle, he would definitely have his own fortune. Otherwise, when you come out, you won't even have a bounty. Of course, the most important thing is that Yuan Jie at that time just wanted to practice properly. Improve your strength. Is this place very familiar to me? Yuan Jie turned to the next question. Girldo, are very familiar with it. Is there anything I don't know about this place? Yuan Jie knew that this guy must be blowing it, because although this guy is a Tianlong person, there really is something this guy doesn't know about. Do you know who Imam is? Yuan Jie asked such a question at this time. I am. Who is this guy? Obviously, this girldo doesn't know who I am. This guy just bragged to himself. I know everything. This guy doesn't even know I am, that's the leader of these heavenly dragon people. Although Yuan Jie knew that this guy was really a buffalo, at this time Yuan Jie felt that it was still very necessary to let the other party draw a map for him. You haven't told me who I am. Girldo felt that the name was very familiar, but he couldn't remember who this guy was for a while, so he was also very curious. I am as a fool. Yuan Jie said perfunctorily at this time. I thought it was with the guy the first heard. Girldo muttered a few words. Come and give me a simple map of this holy land Mary Joa. Yuan Jie spoke to this Gulerd indifferently. Hearing this, Girldo at this time was shocked. Because it is taboo to draw a map of this holy site, Mary Joa. That is to say, if he is a Tianlong person, if he is known by the 5 old stars, they will also be punished at that time. Of course, it will also be hostile to other Tianlong people. I don't do this. This is a taboo for us Tianlong people. If the 5 old stars know about it, I will definitely be dealt with at that time. Are you going to deal with it, or do you want me to deal with you now? At this time, Yuan is like if you don't do what I say, I will kill you. 72. A Kainu vs. Crocodile. If you really don't do it, then I won't force you, I'll have to kill you, and then find someone else to do it. I don't believe it. Aren't all Tianlong people afraid of death? If you are not afraid of Tianlong people, if I die, then I will kill all these Tianlong people. At this time, Yuan Jie hinted that the killing intent was awe-inspiring. The frightened Girldo and Li Ji were shivering. Obviously, they did not face such a scene. I'll give you time to think about it. If you're afraid of death, then I'll find someone later. What Yuan Jie said at this time was very light-hearted. Seeing such a scene, Girldo at this time was quite frightened. Of course, at this time, he was remorseful. Because I brought such a god of plague into my home, I might kill the other side of Abby. I just looked at Charles Ross, and this guy is very lecherous, mainly because his family is very rich, not like our Don Quixote family. But I didn't expect that almost life is lost. The same Tianlong people, why is there still a gap? Girldo lamented in his heart. Khan Duofeng did not agree. Yuan Jie seemed a little impatient. Because in Yuan Jie's opinion, this guy may be delaying time on purpose. Do you agree or not? Yuan Jie said unceremoniously at this time. I promise. I promise. Girldo agreed quickly at this time, because in his opinion, if he did not agree, the other party might not let him go. Therefore, now I have no choice but to agree. And he didn't know why. He was very scared in his heart. What he was afraid of, he didn't know at this time. Then, Gullardo found a pen and paper and began to draw a map. But soon, the guy was drawn. I've drawn it. You can let me go. Don't worry, I won't say anything about this. At this time, Gullardo assured. Yuan Jie ignored the other party, and then took the map drawn in the other party's hand. It doesn't matter if you don't look at it. When you see the map drawn by this guy, Yuan Jie almost died of anger at this time. Because of what this guy drew, it is estimated that he is the only one who can understand this map. What did you draw? Look, who can understand this? Yuan Jie said irritably. After waiting for so long, I didn't expect that this guy would give him such an explanation. Even at this time, Yuan Jie felt that this guy was deliberately drawing such a map for himself. I understand. Girl Doe replied. That was Zhang Yuanjie's anger to death. Yuan Jie thought for a while. I thought this guy was very smart, but I didn't expect that this guy was so stupid to draw such a map. I don't know if this guy did it on purpose or what. I'd better find someone else to draw a map. This guy drew such a thing, except that this guy can understand. Who can understand what this guy is drawing? Yuan Jie knew that this map must be redrawn. At this time, I had to ask this guy some other questions. Meanwhile, on the Chambord Islands, Crocodile was complaining. Because he has been hunted by the Navy all day. I don't know who revealed his identity. So that he is either chasing and killing, or on the road of chasing and killing. That guy is a dangerous person. Why not catch that guy? And I was also forced by that guy. Crocodile was very angry at this time. Indeed, he did exactly what he said. But who would believe his nonsense at this time? He was also very resentful, and he came to this island with the other party. Why has he been chasing and killing? That guy doesn't seem to have any news. As for there is no news at all, it is because these people have not found the whereabouts of that guy. As for that guy's strength, he is very powerful, and almost no one can kill that guy. There is no doubt about that. At this time, Crocodile could never have imagined that the guy used the imitation fruit to find that he had entered the Holy Land Mary Joa, and also held a Tianlong person. Most importantly, he turned the Tianlong person upside down. The most irritating thing is that this one of the biggest masterminds, the Tianlong people still don't know who it is. These Tianlong people still foolishly think that it was these slaves who lost their collars, so they discovered such a thing. They blamed the slaves at this time, and they committed the following. At this time, they blamed the manufacturers for making such poor quality guys. At this time, another pair of navy came after them. Crocodile is there, grab this guy. Seeing this, Crocodile at this time was very angry, and even these trash fish wanted to clean up Crocodile, one of his famous kings, one of the Chihuahua. This is blatant contempt for where he is playing. Therefore, at this time, Crocodile unceremoniously used the ability of the rustling fruit. The sand swept toward these people like waves. The navy was swallowed up in one fell swoop. There are also navies who have fled the Nasha Sea. However, when he touched the sand, Crocodile directly used the arc-shaped dunes to turn these guys into mummified corpses. After solving these people, Crocodile at this time was very arrogant and said to the navy, "You guys want to solve it and I'm still young. You still call your admiral over here, maybe you can have a fight with me." "Did you call me?" At this time, a cold voice came from not far away. "Look over at that voice." At this time, Crocodile saw a man in an admiral's uniform with a rose pin to his chest. After seeing this guy, Crocodile's face immediately became very dignified at this time. Because the guy in front of him is really an admiral, and he is also the most fierce one among admirals, Akainu. "How are you?" Crocodile frowned. "Aren't you looking for me? That guy Pulsolino is just a waste. As for Kuzan, it's also abolished at this time. I'm the only one among the admirals. You should be talking about me. Is it not enough for me to be your opponent?" Akainu joked at this time. Although the other party is the king's Chihuahua, Akainu doesn't care much at this time. At this time, Akainu was very confident, and he also showed a confident smile at this time. "Akainu, I'm not in the mood to fight with you here. You are very insidious. You deliberately dragged other people to come, then I will be miserable." Crocodile also said in a bad mood. "Don't you have Yuan to help you? That guy has the strength of a sea emperor. Akainu also joked at this time. 73. Crocodile, I actually want to be Chiwahai. I was forced by that guy, isn't it bad to be Chiwahai? I'm also very helpless. Crocodile is selling badly at this time. Because he knew that even if that guy Yuanj saw it, he wouldn't come to save him, maybe that guy would come back to attack him. If this is the case, then you should be your own Chiwahai. As for Yuanj, we will solve it for you. At this time, Akainu helped Crocodile come up with a solution. Hearing this, Crocodile at this time couldn't stop scolding Akainu in his heart. Because he knows this guy's thoughts. You are not stupid. If you do this by yourself, Yuanj will definitely come to her own trouble. Their navy wanted to attract Yuanj with such a target as themselves. Crocodile knew, however, that it was all wrong. In fact, he is not the kind of person who gives in casually, but he never thought that the other party would know about his private affairs. If Yuanji's big mouth was to tell the world that he was a woman, wouldn't his majesty and the image he established in the world be completely destroyed? Now that he is a man, he is not a woman. Therefore, he must not betray Yuanj at this time. Unless that guy Yuanj dies. But Crocodile knew that it was very difficult for this guy to die. I have a good idea. Crocodile doesn't agree to this, but our navy wants to cover you. Akainu asked at this time. Seeing Akainu like this, the hungry crocodile at this time was scolding disgusting in his heart. It is precisely because of this that Crocodile at this time did not give this guy a good look. Although things were the same, Crocodile did not pierce that layer of window paper at this time. Instead, he said to Akaji, if it's really what you said, then it will be miserable. I still know the character of Yuanj, that guy will definitely kill me. It's okay. Our navy will cover you. That guy is not invincible. What if the other party is the emperor of the sea? At this time, Akainu was speaking lightly, as if he did not see Yuanj, a sea emperor, in his eyes at all. In this regard, Crocodile at this time sneered. Because these navies are all rice buckets, and it has been so long, these guys haven't even found a trace of Yuanj. You can still ask these people to protect yourself. General Akainu's words, I still consider it. For the sake of our friendship, let me tell you, that guy Yuanj is really on the Chambord Islands, and I asked that guy for it at that time. A piece of gold. Crocodile did not turn against this red dog at this time, but made a friendly relationship with this red dog. Hearing this, Akainu at this time is of course more convinced that Yuanj is on the Chambord Islands. General Akainu, I still have things to do, so I'll leave first. As for what you said, I'll go back and think about it. At this time, Crocodile also turned around and wanted to leave. Because who knows if the Kayabu guy is nearby. If that guy is nearby, if that guy joins forces with this Akainu, then it will be difficult for him to leave. Seeing that Crocodile wanted to leave at this time, Akainu was of course unhappy at this time. After all, this Crocodile was with that guy Yuanj. Moreover, the other party did not agree to his conditions. From Akainu's point of view, this Crocodile was just talking about it, but in fact he was with that guy Yuanj. Therefore, this guy naturally can't let it go. Crocodile, if you ask us to drink tea in the Navy Division, we will think about it. Akainu smiled at this time. And at this time, Akainu also made a look of invitation. I saw Akainu look like this. At this time, Crocodile knew that Akainu was determined to join the navy and capture himself. Therefore, he didn't show any kindness to the other party at this time. At this time, Crocodile did not quarrel with this red dog, but directly tore his face. Akainu, what if I can't speak? Crocodile rebuked at this time. If you, Crocodile, don't agree, do you agree? Akainu still said lightly. Hearing this, Crocodile was sullen in his heart. Akainu, are you determined to catch me? Crocodile, since you don't eat or punish you for toasting, then I can't do anything about it. We all do things according to the rules. It has come to this moment, and the red dog at this time is still calm. Akainu, you are so confident that you can beat me. At this time, Crocodile scolded angrily. Of course, he was also ready to fight this red dog at this time. If he didn't fight with this guy, he would be very reluctant to leave this place. I'm a dignified admiral, and I'm going to become an admiral in the future. Even you can't beat me. How can I become an admiral in the future? Akainu is not shy at this time. Because in the eyes of Akainu, Kizaru and Aokiji are two wastes. After saying this, Akainu added, and you Crocodile. You are just a mere king, Chiwahai. You are only Yuanji's subordinate now. Don't make yourself look like the emperor of the sea. You Crocodile is not qualified yet. Even if Yuanj is here, I am very confident to defeat that guy. Hearing this Akainu's remarks, Crocodile was extremely angry at this time. Because this guy didn't take himself in his eyes at all. He didn't hesitate at this time, and attacked Akainu directly. At this time, he used his own Shaolan, and the sand attacked Kyabu like a tornado. For a while, the sky was full of dust. As for the surrounding navy and ordinary civilians, at this time, they were naturally involved in the tornado composed of sand. At this time, Crocodile didn't care about the lives of these people at all. He was not as compassionate as Yuan Jie. He is an executioner, and he does not show mercy at all. Of course, in Crocodile's view, these guys are simply ants, and they are not worth caring about at all. Seeing such a scene, Akainu's face became very angry. 74. The Handle of Crocodile. Akainu is not as cold-blooded and ruthless as Crocodile, because he is a navy, but he wants to help these civilians to defend against these pirates. You bastard, since this is your choice, then I won't tell you any sympathy. Akainu scolds angrily. In Akainu's view, the lives of these guys are sacrificed. He doesn't actually have any mercy. Because he is still very cold-blooded in his bones. He was angry because he was still a navy. Crocodile, do you really think you can beat me? I can't imagine the strength of my Akainu. Akainu's words were full of contempt, and he didn't fully see Crocodile in front of him. If this Crocodile hadn't followed Yuanji's fellow, this fellow's bounty would have been just over 8,000. You know, more than 80 million pirates are not worth mentioning in his Akainu's eyes. Akainu looked at each other very sharply at this time. Then he calmly punched over. A fist that looked ordinary at first suddenly turned red, and then turned into fiery lava. Then the magma attacked the other side's Sharon tornado. However, the magma that Akainu transformed into suddenly turned black at this time. Seeing such a scene, Crocodile at this time was shocked. Although this Crocodile can't, but Crocodile has heard of it, this is domineering, armed and domineering. It is specially designed to restrain the power of devil fruit. Although he knew, at this time he didn't know how to use domineering. If he can use domineering, he will not be defeated by Luffy. When that salon volume and Akainu's armed arrogance collided together, it was a shattering moment. As for the back, it was Crocodile who was beaten and stepped back. When will you be domineering? Crocodile paled in shock. This was something he hadn't thought of before. If you know that the other party will be domineering, then you will definitely not fight the other party. Because of the domineering of the other party, Crocodile has nothing to do. And that guy is also a natural devil fruit, and the opponent's devil fruit ability is not weak compared to his own rustling fruit. I will be armed with domineering, do I have to tell you? Akainu said to Crocodile unceremoniously. After saying this, Akainu couldn't help but attack at this time. How powerful do you think you are? Let me tell you, you are the weakest among the 7 Marshalseas, and you still feel like you are the weakest kid. You look invincible, and I don't know who gave you the courage. Could it be Yuan Jie? Might as well tell you. Those guys in the New World are generally domineering. And some of them are still very domineering. Therefore, don't think how powerful you are. Akainu continued to attack Crocodile. Because this guy looked very surprised when he saw that he was domineering. This thing is really not surprising, but it is something that Crocodile always thinks he can't, and naturally others won't. When Crocodile heard this, it was very unbelievable at this time. Because he is too special to attack people, he was also a famous king in the past, Chihuahai. If that's the case, what's the matter with your own strength? This is so shocking. Crocodile, I really don't believe it at this time. Akainu sees Crocodile like this, and Akainu has nothing to be proud of at this time. Because in Akainu's view, this guy thinks he is a character, but in Akainu's view, this guy is just a small character. Crocodile, you can't beat me, you're good at it. Although your strength is a little weaker, but you want to restore the identity of the king's Chihuahai, I can still agree. Akainu continued to strike at this time. Akainu is also very treacherous. Although those guys will be armed and domineering, their strength is not above Crocodile's strength. This guy has been in the mix for so many years, and this guy's fighting style is also extremely rich. And this guy's combat experience is also very rich. Of course, the main thing is that the other party's rustling fruit is also very powerful, and it is on a par with his own rock fruit. Otherwise, this guy will not become the king of Chihuahai. These kings under the Chihuahai are also some of the best among pirates. The opponent's strength is still there, but the opponent really does not have the strength to compete with himself. Crocodile will naturally not join the navy again. In that case, even if he betrayed Yuanj, his own handle is still in the opponent's hand. If he offends that guy, then his secret that he is a woman will be known to the whole world. At that time, his dignified Crocodile will be laughed at by people all over the world. That was too shameful for him, Crocodile. Well, you, Ivankov, actually told that guy about this. At the beginning, I clearly said that I would keep it a secret for me, but I didn't expect to tell the bastard about it. In Crocodile's view, all of this is Ivankov's fault. It must be this guy who told Yuanj, otherwise, that guy wouldn't know such a secret. For Yuanj, Crocodile was also very disgusted. After all, he is the crew of the other party, but the other party treats him like this. And he was originally going to rule Alabasta, but this time he was messed up by this guy. If the other party didn't know his secret, then he must have already agreed to Akainu's request. Isn't it bad to be a king under the 7 Wuhai? He also has a group of subordinates. As for the group of people with Yuanj, he really has nothing to do with each other. That eagle-eyed Mahawk looked cold and indifferent all day long, and Yuanjie was just a boss when he had nothing to do with him, and he was not this guy's servant. Thinking of this, Crocodile was very angry at this time. However, at this time, he gritted his teeth and scolded Dao Akainu, Akainu. Don't think that I don't know what you are thinking in your heart, and want me to rely on you again, you are dreaming. I am Yuanj's now. Buddy, this guy is the emperor of the sea. If it weren't for this guy, my bounty would not be 300 million. Now Crocodile is even more famous. Of course, what Crocodile said was very counterintuitive. These words are just what he said to Akainu. Seeing that Crocodile was so determined at this time, Akainu didn't talk to Crocodile anymore at this time. This place has already been destroyed by Crocodile, and Akainu has no scruples at this time. 75. Do business with Tianlong people. At this time, he directly launched the meteor volcano. Then, only saw fists with flames falling from the sky. Although this destructive move is not Akainu's most amazing move, but it is Akainu's attack with the widest range. He already knew about Crocodile's moves. This guy is relying on the sand to launch the attack. The fist fell like raindrops. At this time, Crocodile had to use the sand to make a layer of shield to fend off these attacks from Crocodile. Although Crocodile still resisted the opponent's attack, at this time Crocodile was extremely embarrassed. Seeing Crocodile like this, Akainu also sneered, Crocodile, if I were you, I would use my knowledge. In that case, these fists of mine should be easy to escape. You won't do this either. Embarrassed. When Akainu used this move, he had already seen through the move of crocodile. Therefore, this crocodile is simply unavoidable. If crocodile could escape, he wouldn't use sand as a shield. For these words of Akainu, crocodile was very angry. Because this guy mocked himself like that. This made him almost doubt his life. At this time, his face was dark. Looking at the red dog with a very bad look. He in this time also did not show very angry. Because crocodile is also an old fritter. He also saw that this Akainu was stimulating himself. If you really go to war, then you will really follow the other party's way. The battle continued. Akainu saw that he did not irritate this crocodile, and he stopped at this time. Ya also knows that the other party probably already knows his purpose. After thinking of this, Akainu also exerted all his strength at this time. It's still a quick decision, and he doesn't know what mobs will appear at that time. Akainu is using all the means of thunder, and it also cooperates with the domineering look of the armed and the domineering look of the overlord. Domineering has a restraining effect on the abilities of devil fruit capable users, especially crocodile, a natural devil fruit. Therefore, within a few rounds, crocodile was defeated. He was very embarrassed at this time, and his golden hook was also hung with blood at this time, which seemed a little bloodthirsty. He looked at Akainu very resentfully at this time, because this guy's strength was really terrible. After all, he is also the king's Chiwahai, and he has no power to fight back when facing the opponent. This domineering is indeed very powerful, and it is very restrained on my ability. It seems that I am also outdated by Crocodile, and I must learn this domineering when the time comes. At this time, Crocodile also secretly made up his mind. After Akainu captured the crocodile, he didn't talk nonsense with the crocodile. Because of the latter matter, it is natural to take this guy back and talk about it. Crocodile was also very lost at this time. Because he didn't see the red dog in front of him at all, but he never thought that the red dog would actually defeat him. The reason why he was afraid of fighting against this red dog before was also because he was afraid of Kizaru being here. If Kyabu and Akainu were both present, then he might not really be the opponent of these two. Crocodile originally wanted to defeat Whitebeard, but obviously there was no drama. He was defeated by Akainu, let alone a guy like Whitebeard. Soon, the news of Crocodile's arrest came out. Of course, Akainu planned all this because he wanted to seduce Yuanj. But this time Yuanj was in the Holy Land Marijoa. The news wasn't much talked about in the Holy Land Marijoa. These Tianlong people are very arrogant, even the navy they are very despised. Not to mention like a pirate. Therefore, Yuanjie did not know at this time. I like to collect devil fruits. Is it easy for you to collect them? If possible, I will let you go. As for the cost of collecting, don't worry, I will double it for you. You must know that Yuanjie's main purpose here is to collect devil fruits. He didn't come to make trouble in this holy place, Marijoa. However, this mess is just a random thought. Of course, he didn't know that this random move caused such a big movement in the Holy Land Marijoa. So many dragons were killed by those slaves. If you want to get a devil fruit, it's very easy for me to get it, but what you said is true. We Tianlong people are very rich, and we look down on a little money. This guy obviously felt that Yuanjie would not kill himself. At this time, he still wanted to do business with such a wretched uncle in front of him. Seeing this, Yuanjie also lit up slightly at this time. Because he didn't expect this Tianlong person to have such a mind, which made him a little surprised. In Yuanjie's impression, these Tianlong people are rich and domineering, and they are more evil than some pirates. However, this Tianlong person in front of him is a special case. Yuanjie smiled and then said, "That's for sure. If you have channels, maybe we can cooperate for a long time. As for money, the most important thing I don't need is money." Yuanjie originally thought that after asking this guy, he killed this guy. Then find someone else to draw the map yourself. But I didn't expect that this guy could collect devil fruits for himself. In that case, he wouldn't need to trouble himself. And if he goes, he will be exposed very easily. But this kid is a real heavenly dragon. In order to show his sincerity, Yuan-Jie took out a piece of gold from his badness. Then Yuan-Jie said to the other party, "This piece of gold is also regarded as a deposit. If you can get the haunt of the devil fruit, this piece of gold will also be given to you." When Yuan-Jie handed out the gold, Yuan-Jie didn't blink. Because this gold is no longer important to him. "I still have a golden boat, not only that, but I can also use the ability of Momo's fruit to make the gold bigger." When Geraldo saw that Yuan-Jie took out a piece of gold so easily, he was also very shocked. Moreover, this guy gave himself such a large piece of gold, just like the other party, he didn't care about it at all. This guy is really too generous, and it looks like a fat sheep that is fatter than St. Charles Rose. It seems that I still don't want to find a way to deal with this guy. This guy must have a lot of money. Get this guy's money first. While Yuan-Jie was planning for Geraldo, Geraldo also began to plan for Yuan-Jie. Because of the interests of the two people, they reached an agreement. P.S. Ask for a ticket, thank you. 76. You can give it a try, recommended reward. When you help me collect devil fruits, by the way, get me a map of this holy land of Mary Joa. Don't worry, money is of course indispensable to you, and I won't let you take such a big risk to do this. Quote. Yuan-Jie was very happy at this time. As for devil fruits, I will pay as much as you collect. As for the price, it's very easy to say. After saying this, and this time Yuan added, you as soon as possible. However, don't expose my identity, you kid, no matter what the price is, I will definitely kill you this guy. Yuan-Jie finally warned. Because he still doesn't trust this Geraldo a little bit. Don't worry, my Geraldo has a very high reputation among the Tianlong people. At this time, Geraldo patted his chest and assured. Seeing the other party like this, Yuan-Jie left at this time. Seeing that when Geraldo saw Yuan-Jie leave so indifferently, he was very surprised at this time. If he goes to complain to other people, this guy will definitely die. It seems that smashing Geraldo. Aren't you afraid of me going to sue you? You're not St. Charles Rose. Geraldo couldn't help but wonder in his heart, just when Yuan-Jie prescribed medicine and walked out of this room. Hearing this, Yuan-Jie was also slightly taken aback. Yuan-Jie just left a sentence lightly. You can go and try it. Yuan-Jie's tone was very domineering. Of course, if the other party sued, Yuan-Jie would definitely kill this guy. Even if this guy sued, he would definitely have the means to kill this guy. Moreover, he has now turned into a black beard, and this is also the black kid of the black beard, and it has nothing to do with his Yuan-Jie. Seeing the other party's appearance like that, at this time, Geraldo felt a little palpitated. That's right, it's heart palpitations. Because the other party is very confident. And he still has the confidence to kill himself. He knew that if he went to complain, the other party would definitely be very confident to kill him. After Yuan-Jie left, Geraldo began to draw Yuan-Jie's changed appearance. Then the appearance of Yuan-Jie was passed on. Check it out for me, who is this guy? Soon, the phone came over. This guy seems to be called Blackbeard. This guy was originally Whitebeard's subordinate. This guy seems to have killed his own captain. Now he is wanted by the Whitebeard pirates. Hearing this, Geraldo couldn't help frowning at this time. But soon, the guy's brows loosened. This guy isn't that great either. I thought how great this guy was. Is this guy rich? Geraldo asked towards the other party. Because Geraldo cares about money, as for the identity of the other party, Geraldo doesn't care at all. I don't know, but I just heard that this guy is going to join Chihuahai. After hearing this, Geraldo couldn't help frowning. If that guy was really Blackbeard, it would be very difficult to pass on the other party's news. After thinking for a while, but soon, Geraldo guessed it. That guy didn't show me his original appearance. That guy used the appearance of a black beard. I was very curious at that time, who is this guy? At this time, Girldo changed his previous appearance and showed a sly smile. Check it out for me, what great people have disappeared recently. Soon, something was found on the opposite side. Recently, there seems to be a guy named Yuan Jie who has become a new generation of Sea Emperors in less than half a month. Where is the other party now? These are not very clear, but the opponent's subordinate crocodile was caught by a kainu. According to that crocodile, Yuan seems to be in the Chambord Islands. But the Navy has not found any trace of that guy yet. Could this guy be Yuan Jie? Girldo was very suspicious. What kind of abilities does that guy have? Girldo asked hurriedly. If the other party has the ability to change, then the other party must be the so-called Yuanj. Lord Giral, we haven't yet determined what the other party's abilities are, but the other party has a lot of abilities. Even Admiral Aokiji seems to have been easily defeated by that guy. After hearing this, Giral at this time paled in shock. You mean that Admiral Aokiji was defeated by that guy? Yes. Is that guy Yuan Jie? Goulardo said suspiciously at this time. His face was very ugly at this time. Girldo is not like other people, they look down on the Navy and pirates. In their view, the Navy is their bodyguard, and the pirates are their slaves. Although the Navy is to protect the safety of these guys, those are only some of the lower ranks. As for those lieutenant generals and the like, they did not take them in their eyes. As for their slaves, some were defeated, captured, and sold to them. These pirates are not top-level pirates. And Yuan Jie is the top fighting force among the pirates. He couldn't be underestimated at this time. With the strength of the other party, even if he is discovered, he can leave this holy land Mary Joa alive. Because there are not many people with the strength of these four emperors. Therefore, it is difficult to stop the opponent. No wonder that guy has such confidence. At this time, Girldo suddenly realized. But at this time, Girldo was in a cold sweat. The other party is really terrible. What are you afraid of? I just need to provide the devil fruit to that guy, and I won't reveal the guy's identity. I'm just a moneymaker. Girldo comforted at this time. Sir, are you all right? Do you want a little one to serve you? Li Ji saw that Girldo's face was very ugly at this time, so she also asked with concern at this time. Hearing this, Girldo at this time also waved his hands again and again. Because the previous Yuan Jie took the lead for this guy, if he really did something to Li Ji, then he would be miserable. Therefore, I still treat Li Ji well. If it's time again, send this guy away. Li Ji, you can't tell anyone what happened today. Otherwise, you will know the consequences. Girldo threatened at this time. Good lord, I will not tell anyone else. Li Ji, I'll send you back, Li Ji, in a few days. I'll give you some money. After you go back, let's live your life well. My lord, did I do something wrong? My lord, I beg you to spare my family. Li Ji, you didn't do anything wrong. As for your family, I won't do anything to them. Li Ji, I know I did some jerk things back then, please forgive me. Girldo apologized to Li Ji at this time. P.S. Asking for a ticket may not be important to everyone, but it is very important to me. 77. The 5 old stars also have a headache. Seeing the Tianlong people apologize to herself, Li Ji at this time was also very confused. The other party is a high-ranking Tianlong person, but now he does apologize to himself. This made Li Ji a little unbelievable. However, Li Ji knew that all this must be the credit of the adults. Li Ji, please forgive me. I forgive you. The other party is a Tianlong person. Although she has the support of the previous adult, she does not dare to be presumptuous. Okay, I forgive you. Of course, Girldo is just a form of walking. And it also made Yuan Jie unable to find any reason to embarrass himself. At this time, Yuan Jie began to wander in this holy place, Mary Joa. The main reason for Yuan-Jie is because the 7 wives of Charles Rose don't know how to deal with it. Although he is powerful, Yuan-Jie's strength seems pale at this time for these women. Of course, Yuan-Jie's heart was not a good feeling to think that he was put to sleep by those women last night. Moreover, those women were also very well trained by the Holy Charles. It is necessary to serve himself at every turn, which makes Yuan-Jie feel very speechless. As for what Yuan-Jie said to girl though, it was indeed very unrestrained, but Yuan-Jie had to guard against this girl though. After all, he was in the Tianlong people's territory. Yuan-Jie did not dare to underestimate the strength of Yimu and the 5 old stars. Although he has many devil fruits, he can only use the power of 1 devil fruit at a time. If you can use the abilities of various devil fruits, then you don't need to be careful about them at all. As for the Tianlong people, even the Holy Land Mary Joa exploded at this time. Because this time, hundreds of Tianlong people died. Although they are said to be world nobles, their number is only 1 or 2,000. After all, they are very noble. If there are many people, they cannot appear noble. As for the Tianlong people, why would there be such casualties? It is because the Tianlong people are powerless in front of those slaves. It's easier for those guys to kill them than to kill chickens and dogs. There are even some powerful guys who directly knock out the Tianlong people with 1 punch. You know, these slaves are not ordinary people, they are all bought by Tianlong people at high prices. The reason why they bought these slaves at a high price was to be their own bodyguards. They never thought that these slaves broke free of their collars. This is something that has never been done before. The value of these collars is not much cheaper than these slaves. Because these collar materials are unusual. If there is no such circle, it is impossible to imprison these powerful slaves to give orders to these Tianlong people. Of course, all this was done by Yuan-Jie. Of course, Yuan-Jie was just doing it casually, but he didn't expect to make such a big move. There is also a part of the reason for this. Naturally, these Tianlong people abused these slaves and did not treat these slaves as human beings at all. Otherwise, after these slaves break free from this circle, they will seek revenge for these Tianlong people one by one. 5 old stars were in the void hall at this time. However, the faces of these old guys are very ugly. Because they never expected that such a thing would happen. Even if they are the administrators of the Tianlong people, at this time, it is not easy for them to deal with this matter. After all, a lot of Tianlong people died this time. This matter must not be spread. If it is spread, then the face of our world government will be damaged. Said one of the long beards. That's right. If other people know about it, it will definitely laugh at our world government's incompetence. Especially those pirates. The short-bearded Tianlong said. Yeah, even the old cross broke into our holy site, Mary Joa. We haven't killed so many people. The Tianlong man with a wide beard sighed with emotion at this time. Then what should we do with this matter? Is it still necessary for Lord Yimu to solve it? Then we old guys are too wasteful. Tianlong humane with a mustache. I think to appease the Tianlong people first, and the guys related to this matter will behead them. I think this matter is not just that simple. The heavenly dragon who had been silent for a long time finally spoke at this time. The person who spoke was a guy who was wearing a martial arts uniform and carried a knife everywhere in his hand, which seemed out of tune with the other people. How should that be said? You know, this has never happened before. And this time, so many slaves broke free from the collar. There must be something wrong. Yeah, I think it's a problem too. This has never happened before. Is there something wrong with that collar? I've checked and those collars are no different from the materials previously provided. So there's nothing wrong with the materials. Could it be that these slaves conspired? Otherwise, how did these guys break free of that collar? Yeah, I think this should be checked. Otherwise, why did these guys suddenly break free from their collars? I think so too, otherwise, there would be no such thing. It's just that the guys who were proposing the collar seem to have been killed by Lord Yimu. Therefore, even if we are going to check these at this time, it will be difficult to find out this matter. Yes. Hey, didn't the son of Saint Roswald see these things? I think he should know a thing or two. That kid looks very stupid, but he didn't expect to be a little smart. Yeah, I didn't expect that the kid was accepted as a disciple by Lord Yimu. That guy is very lucky. A few of us old guys made such a big mistake this time. Lord Yimu values that kid very much. We should not offend that kid, otherwise, we guys may not be safe at night. Originally, the guy in the martial arts uniform wanted to say something, but when he heard these people say this, he just opened his mouth slightly and swallowed the words back. He felt that this St. Charles Rose felt very wrong since he came back. This guy is lazy and very lecherous. This guy should be the hardest to escape, but only this guy survived. Could it be that I feel wrong? That guy is really as wise as the other old guys say. He murmured inwardly. One of the 5 old stars patted him on the shoulder and asked, "What's the matter with you?" "I don't have anything." Girldo also quickly received the news. 78. Find Yuan's trouble. After hearing these news, his face became very ugly. Because he did not expect that such a thing would happen in the place of the Tianlong people, which is really incredible. But soon a familiar figure appeared in Girldo's mind. Did that guy do it? Girldo immediately thought of Yuanj, because at this time he felt that the current St. Charles is Yuanj. After thinking of this, Girldo couldn't help but break out in cold sweat. He is also a greedy man who fears death. Of course, if he had gone out earlier, he would have been killed by those guys. Girldo also learned later that only St. Charles survived. This made Goulardo even more convinced that Yuanj did all this, which is now St. Charles. He and Charles Rose have a very friendly relationship. As for the so-called friendship, the other party buys and sells something through himself. Because of Doflamingo's family leaving the Holy Land Mary Joa, his family gave up the identity of the Tianlong people and became the traitor that everyone in Tianlong criticized. Because they belonged to the Don Quixote family, their family was naturally implicated. Therefore, as a dragon person himself, although he is a Tianlong, his status in the Tianlong is very low. Therefore, when others are eating, drinking, and having fun, he wants to make money. This is why he is different from other Tianlong people. These Tianlong people died, and they did not have some relatives and friends of their own. Even if they were friends like St. Charles Rose on the surface. Therefore, he didn't feel any sadness for so many Tianlong people killed and injured this time. Instead, he felt very happy. Because if there are fewer Tianlong people, then their status will be improved, or they will be valued by the people above. This is not a good thing for me. Maybe I can trade that guy for something other than just money. Girldo sighed at this time. In Girldo's view, the other party should hate the Tianlong people very much, otherwise, they would not have done such a thing. In this way, it should not be difficult for the other party to kill some of their own foes. After thinking of this, Girldo had a sly smile on his face at this time. As for Yuan Jie, he was wandering around in the Holy Land Mary Joa at this time. On the one hand, it was because he didn't dare to go back, and on the other hand, it seemed that he didn't know how to go back either. Yuan Jie's hearing is very good. When passing by some houses, he heard gasping sounds and coquettish laughter in some houses. But after Yuan Jie heard this, he was extremely speechless. Because in the daytime, these Tianlong people still do such things. No wonder these guys are so weak. Yuan Jie said in a nonchalant manner. Of course, Yuan Jie is also very speechless, and it's not a good thing for him to have good hearing here. When Yuan Jie came to the automatic conveyor belt, he couldn't help frowning. Because Yuan Jie knew that the conveyor belt was being conveyed manually. For these, Yuan Jie, as a modern civilized person, is very disgusted with these. Yuan Jie wanted to rescue those people at this time. I've made such a big move now, so don't do anything more. If it arouses suspicion, it will be very bad at that time. And those guys are not like the slaves before. If I rescue these people, how will they get out? If you can't get out, it will be a dead end. After thinking about this, Yuan-Jie didn't have that kind of mind at this time. Of course, when passing by a few houses, the inside is the same as before. These Tianlong people have nothing to do all day. If they don't do it, what else can they do? Yuan-Jie walked for a while, and soon met the Tianlong people. Yuan-Jie is very famous recently. No, it should be said that St. Charles Rose is very famous. The guy first escaped, and this time he escaped from the dead. Therefore, his affairs were spread among the Tianlong people. In the eyes of these heavenly dragons, St. Charles Rose's luck is really good, otherwise, this guy would have died twice. St. Charles, didn't expect you to be so lucky. A Tianlong man walked over on his own initiative. But the tone was very contemptuous. With his many years of experience, Yuan-Jie knew that the guy in front of him must have a grudge against St. Charles. Obviously, he didn't come to say hello to himself, but to find fault. Normal. It's not all luck. If I didn't run fast, I would have been killed by those guys long ago, so this exercise is still very important. I see you like this. If you encounter such a thing, if it deteriorates, you can only wait for death. Even if you run, it is just a waste of physical strength. Quote. After that guy heard this, his face became ashen. Obviously, what Yuan-Jie said, this guy was very angry. St. Charles Rose, you don't look down on people. The guy said in a bad mood at this time. Or else, just let a slave try. If you survive, I will admit that you are very powerful. Yuan-Jie looked contemptuous at this time. If this guy wants to find fault, then he will play with this guy now. Of course, the other party was looking for St. Charles, but now he is St. Charles. I had to teach each other a good lesson for each other. St. Charles Rose, don't think you can be arrogant by picking up a dog's life yourself. That guy was obviously offended by Yuan-Jie's words. You may not even get a dog's life. St. Charles, don't think your family is very powerful. I tell you, my father is a direct subordinate of the 5 old stars. You'd better not mess with me. That guy moved out of his strong background. Yuan-Jie did not expect that these Tianlong people would also be so powerful. Of course, these Tianlong people are actually the same as other shameless villains. Although they are nobles, there is a distinction between high and low. If you have it, just ask the 5 old stars to teach me a lesson. I tell you, even if the 5 old stars come, the other party can't do anything to me. Yuan-Jie said lightly at this time. Yuan-Jie is a messenger himself, but Nian's disciple, even the 5 old stars can't move him. For what Yuan-Jie said, the guy sneered. Because the 5 old stars are the supreme rulers of their Tianlong people. 79. The Pit Father's younger brother, for a reward and... Of course, this is what these people know. These Tianlong people have never heard of Yimu, so these guys don't know that there is Lord Yimu on the 5 old stars. Of course, since the other party doesn't know, there is no need to tell the other party about it. Well, you are a St. Charles. You wait for me, and I will make you look good. Even if the 5 old stars come, they will be on my side. The guy said to Yuan-Jie aggressively. Yuan-Jie also doesn't know why this guy has such confidence. Then call the 5 old stars first. Yuan-Jie said unceremoniously at this time. Obviously, these are just bragging, and he can't call the 5 old stars at all. Wu Laoxing has something to do, so I can't call him over today. But he's here, and he will make you look good. That guy is still aggressive. Yuan-Jie saw Wu Laoxing just now, and knew what Wu Laoxing was doing at this time. Yuan-Jie just smiled at this time, and then said to the other party, then you can always look for me when he has time. Don't worry, I will accompany you at any time. When the Tianlong person heard this, he felt a little guilty at this time. Because he didn't expect that even if he moved out of the 5 old stars, this guy still had no fear, and he didn't know what to say at this time. However, seeing such an arrogant appearance of St. Charles Rose, the Tianlong person was not angry at this time. This really made him very angry. Originally, I didn't think it was necessary to teach a lesson to you, an ignorant brat. Since you talk about fire like this, don't worry, I will definitely call 5 old stars here. That man is clenching his teeth at this time. This time, it wasn't because Yuan Jie was very angry. It was because he felt that he had to invite the 5 old stars over. Of course, the status and location of the 5 old stars are very unusual among the Tianlong people. Therefore, although I know the 5 old stars, if I want to invite the 5 old stars over, it will undoubtedly be a very difficult thing. Seeing the other party like this, Yuan Galai had a playful look on his face at this time. The boy in front of Ben didn't provoke the other party himself, but the guy came to provoke him. It was at this time that Girl Do learned that St. Charles Rose was Yuanj. He was going to tell his family not to mess with St. Charles Rose. Because that St. Charles Ross is now a guy who can't be offended. When he came out, 100 Years saw St. Charles Rose. At this time, it should be Yuan Jie, talking to his younger brother. Brother Ural, what's going on here? Girl Do stepped forward at this time and asked curiously. Girl Do, this guy just survived, and I don't know why he is standing in front of me. Maybe those guys thought that this guy was no threat to them at all, so they didn't bother to go kill this guy. Seeing his elder brother Girl Do coming at this time, Ural Go was very happy at this time. Because his elder brother is able to speak well, he just pulls out a lot of truths casually. When Yuan Jie saw Girl Do coming over, Yuan Jie didn't expect that this guy came over too. After seeing this guy coming, Yuan Jie at this time looked at Girl Do with a lot of fun. When Girl Do saw Yuan Jie looking at himself like this, it made Girl Do very flustered, because the guy in front of him was Yuan Jie, the Emperor of the Sea. His strength is very unusual. At this time, he had to pay attention to each other, and did as his brother said. It is estimated that this younger brother of his own provoked the other party. Seeing such a scene, Girl Do at this time had a very headache. However, seeing that his younger brother still wanted to help himself, at this time, Girl Do also hurriedly scolded, Gulurder is our friend. How can you talk about each other like this? Brother Ural, you still don't want this Yuan. St. Charles Rose apologizes. Because he didn't pay attention, Girl Do also said the wrong thing for a while. At this time, he went back to his intestines later. How could he have such little brothers? Girl Do is very not stupid. If he knows the identity of the other party, then the other party is very likely to kill people. Because I know things I shouldn't know. Of course, the living can't be trusted by others, only the dead can't speak. He hasn't done this kind of thing less often before. Yuan Jie was very surprised at this time, because he didn't expect that Girl Do even found out his identity. This kid didn't think of it, he was still very smart. Yuan Jie sighed in his heart. After obtaining the devil fruit, should I kill this guy or not? Yuan Jie felt that it was best not to let him know about his ability. After all, if you have such an ability, you can go to many places. And it won't attract other people's attention. If these people knew that they had such an ability, they would have a great chance of revealing themselves. But after seeing Girl Do say this, Yuan Jie thought again, this guy knows so much news, and this guy is also very smart, maybe this guy can find a lot of devil fruits for me. After all, his main character now is to obtain devil fruits. If he didn't get the devil fruit, he might still be wandering on the sea. Live a low-key life. After thinking of this, Yuan Jie felt that he should not kill this guy at this time. However, seeing the other person's appearance, he said to himself indifferently at this time, some people. I always feel that I am smart and powerful, and it is inevitable that I will make some small mistakes. This time I will reluctantly forgive me. As for Ural Go hearing this at this time, he thought that Saint Charles was talking about himself. This made Go very unhappy. He didn't do anything wrong. The other party looked like he was higher than himself, which made go very angry at this time. I am also a Tianlong person, but the Don Quixote family is a little weaker than the opponent's family, but I and the opponent are both Tianlong people, why should I compromise with the opponent? Saint Charles rose. Don't think you can get it if you take a dog's life. Yurlj pointed at Yuanj's nose and cursed. Of course, Yuan-Jie was not angry at this time. Because the other party was scolding Saint Charles rose, whether there is himself, he is just playing that guy, and he is not that guy. At this time, Geraldo was scolding his stupid younger brother in his heart. At this time, he really wanted to knock this brain out. What the hell was in the other party's brain? 80. My identity is more powerful than Tianlong people. He in this time also quickly apologized to Yuan-Jie. Saint Charles rose. My brother is ignorant, please forgive me. After saying this, Geraldo turned to his younger brother at this time, and then scolded, Brother Yurl. You still haven't apologized to this Saint Charles. Seeing my brother at this time, I have to apologize to this guy Charles Rose. Brother Yurl had a confused look on his face at this time. He just thought that his brother had said something wrong, but his brother wanted to apologize to the hateful Saint Charles. He originally wanted his brother to help him, but didn't think of it. My brother, at this time, the arm is turned out. Goulardo, although our Don Quixote is not as good as this guy from Saint Charles, there is absolutely no need for us to bow our heads to this guy. We are all heavenly dragons, and we are all four-time nobles. Although our family is apart from traitors of the Doflamingo family, but our Don Quixotes have not fallen so far as to bow their heads. Make yourself feel inferior to them. Yurl was very angry at this time. He was angry at this time that his brother didn't help him, that he humiliated himself in front of the other party, and now he has to humiliate himself in front of this guy named Charles Rose. This made him intolerable. Brother Yurl, don't you listen to your brother's words. At this time, Geraldo was very angry. Because if his younger brother offends Yuanj in front of him, then his older brother will be dead. It's always better to bow your head and admit your mistakes than to die. It's okay for me to admit I'm wrong. But tell me, why are you admitting to this guy? At this time, Yurlgo asked almost hysterically. Hearing this, Geraldo was extremely depressed at this time. Because I would never say it to my brother. This guy is Yuanj, the Emperor of the Sea. He said something wrong just now. Yuan-Jie was obviously warning himself. If he told his younger brother about this, he would not die fast enough. Moreover, if this matter spreads out, then he will be dead by then. When his younger brother asked himself, Geraldo was very embarrassed at this time. At this time, he knew, but he didn't dare to say it all, just like holding a fart and not dare to let it out. That brother, I won't hurt you. Geraldo finally squeezed out such a sentence. Hearing this, Yurlgo snorted coldly. Because his brother wanted to apologize, but now this guy can't say a reason. He also knew that his brother was doing it for his own good, but he didn't want to bow his head and admit his mistake in front of Saint Charles Rose. Did you do anything wrong? This guy just got lucky a few times, does he have to apologize to the other party? Since you can't say anything, then I will never apologize to this hateful guy. Yurlgo said with a sworn oath. At this time, Geraldo was just trying to stop talking. He really didn't know what to say at this time. If you say all of this by yourself, then you and your younger brother will die faster. At this time, he could only keep looking at Yuan-Jie's eyes. Let's see what this righteous lord's reaction is at this time. When seeing that Yuan-Jie was not angry at all, Geraldo was also relieved. Obviously, this Yuanj hasn't killed his younger brother yet. At this time, Geraldo was very depressed. Why did his younger brother get involved with Yuanj? Brother Yurl did not pay attention to his brother anymore. Because his brother is obviously with this Charles Rose Saint. He bowed his head to admit his mistake to St. Charles Rose, but he would not bow his head to admit his mistake to this guy. It was at this time that several old men came over. When they saw Yuan Jie, they immediately walked towards this side. These old men are the 5 old stars. The 5 old stars are looking for St. Charles Rose in this area at this time. They want to know, what the hell is going on here? After all, Yuan Jie is the only one who knows what happened now. Those who knew about this were killed at this time. After seeing the 5 old stars coming, Yuraldo immediately walked towards the other party. That 5 old star grandpa. I'm Brother Ural, do you still remember me? There are a lot of people in this day, and these guys are a little old, and I didn't remember who this guy was in front of me for a while. But after thinking about it for a while, someone obviously recognized who this guy is in front of him. After all, there are thousands of Tianlong people, but if you want to remember, you can still remember some. Are you the boy of Don Quixote's house? That's right, I am. The full name is Don Quixote Uralgo. Hearing that the 5 old stars thought of himself, Ural was very happy. I don't know what some adults have come here to find me for. Brother Ural was shameless at all, he thought that the 5 old stars were here to find him. We're not here for you, we're here for St. Charles Rose. Brother Ural slapped his face instantly. But this guy is still relentless. Could it be that this guy Charles Rose made some mistakes, so you're going to catch this guy? Hearing this, the 5 old stars were very speechless at this time. We came to St. Charles to ask about something. He didn't make any mistakes. On the contrary, he performed very well, and he was. Just when one is about to say this, suddenly someone else stopped and said, "Don't say that." When Goulardo heard this, he was very suspicious at this time. Because the other party obviously missed the point. But it was stopped. This is obviously a very important thing. In fact, that guy wanted to say that St. Charles Rose was valued by Lord Yimu, and then he was accepted as a disciple. It seems that the 5 old stars are the rulers of the Tianlong people and even the entire world government. But the one who actually holds the power is I Am Sama. However, I Am clearly didn't want others to know about him. Therefore, even these celestial dragons do not know about Lord I Am. She also just lives in the house that is relatively back to the Tianlong people. Girldo could clearly see that the 5 old stars were trying to hide something. And Girldo can be very sure that this Yuanj must know about this. Therefore, he did not ask much at this time. Can you ask yourself what the hell is going on? Ural, who was beaten in the face, didn't feel embarrassed at all.